so I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, yeah.
What a day. FT Live, Scott Braun, AJ Pierzynski, Erik Kratz, Brady Singer of the Royals going to join us soon. No, too soon.
Oh, I thought I was still on vacation. Sorry.
Oh, were you on vacation?
Well, I mean, I haven't been here for a while, so I thought.
You're never on vacation. You just work like an absolute workaholic.
He's a grinder. You know what? I watched his whole game. I've been doing that more lately. This past weekend, I watched his Astros-Angels game.
I'm sorry you had to watch that game.
Thank you. But you entertained me to an extent. Maldonado, do you remember you interviewed him? And they got to the end of the interview, and they're like, who were you on with? Albert. He goes, Kenny Albert. He goes, do you have any questions for AJ? And Maldonado's like, you played for so long. Like, does anything hurt? And AJ was like, nope.
You want me to lie?
It was great. And then like the inning ended and they had to go to break. So Maldi couldn't even say anything back. But he thought he was going to be like, dude, my back, my knees, I have to get physical therapy, all this shit. And he was like, nope, nothing.
I wasn't going to lie. It's true.
Kratzy, does anything hurt you? You seem like you're pretty fit too. Many catchers I know that used to play are like, they're like walking around like they're going to fall over.
I was fortunate. I didn't play as much as AJ. That's one of the good things about playing. I just caught a bunch not playing. I just caught a bunch of bullpens. So the only time my knee hurt last year when I was training for a marathon, but I was like, well, that's dumb. I'll just stop training for a marathon.
You just stop.
Smart.
You just stop. That makes sense. A couple things I want to let everyone know before we charge. Number one, thank you to everyone that follows and watches us on YouTube. 15,000 plus subscribers now. We hot. 30,000 plus TikTok follows.
That's from me.
Some milestones. That is true. Kratz still holds the record by far. 2-point-something million.
By the way,
views.
I also got 6,000 Insta followers. I sent autographed balls and sent it to them.
You personally have that.
The last 5, I sent autographed balls.
Wow, I didn't know that. Should fill me in on that. I would.
Well, I was at 5990, and I said the last one, and then people were like, "That's not fair because I'll just unfollow you and refollow you." And then so when I got to 6,000, it popped up, and I was like, "Just kidding, I'll give it to the last." It actually ended up being 6 because when I went to take the picture, it went from 6,000 to 6,001. So I sent 6.
All of those people.
All those people. They all DM me their address.
Nice.
It went out on Friday, so if you're watching, you should have your autograph ball soon, hopefully.
Wow, that's very nice.
Big league balls.
AJ's like Santa Claus.
Of course,
Insta
big
Santa
league
Claus.
balls. Is there another ball?
Mine's been missing.
Remember, Kratz, I'm not a grinder.
Did you take my baseball? Is that what happened?
Again, we had this conversation.
I don't want the Sandlot baseball. I don't want the Sandlot baseball. Let's charge the damn mound, shall we? Let's get to the.
Wait, first you got to say who's on today.
I did already, didn't I?
No.
Didn't I say Brady Singer's coming on?
No. He pitched great last night too.
Yeah, he carried a no-no.
Late until somebody on our text Slack feed internish said, "Hey, Brady Singer's coming on tomorrow. He's got a no-hitter." And the next pitch,
immediately.
Next pitch. So,
sorry, Jay.
Intern, I'm not calling you. Oh, well, Kratz did it, but I wasn't going to call your name out, but don't ever do that.
It's not a real thing, but we'll talk about it with Brady Singer. And then David Robertson, the closer of the Marlins, will join us also in hour 2, 15 minutes away from talking to Ryan Divish about the Seattle Mariners, the surging Mariners. Also, you can buy merch. I'm getting a lot of questions lately. FoulTerritoryShop.com. If you want a hat or the world's softest shirt. I've been seeing them around. I like it. Some people taking pictures of them in their shirt and then sending it to us on FT, and we restory it. So cool. Thank you. Let's charge the mound. Powered by Teasa. By the way, if you have a friend that dips, it's terrible for them. So tell them stop it and recommend Teasa.
By the way, when I was working this weekend, there was an organization that had them in their locker room.
Love that. Okay. You can't tell me, but can you tell me?
One of the managers likes them.
Is a Teasa guy.
Is a Teasa guy.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to talk about that later. Not necessarily on air, but I want to know more.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Love that. Let's focus on biz. So you called Angels Astros this past weekend.
I'm sorry you had to watch that game.
Thank you. I did watch a little bit of Friday where John Singleton hit 2 home runs.
I'm also
I don't
sorry
feel
I
like
had to watch that game because they were equally bad.
I know, but at least Singleton's a cool story.
Singleton's a great story.
When you disappear off the planet of baseball for so many years, then you reappear, you get cut by the Brewers, you reappear again on the old team that you were with. And I mean, he hasn't hit much. He just had that one big game. But I will say, Jose Abreu is having a terrible season. And now he's hurt on the IL. So I was like, this dude makes any noise. Astros fans are seriously going to be like, yo, we need more from first base right now. Because it happened last year with Yuli Gurriel, and then he played okay in the playoffs. And Dusty is loyal as can be. They just paid Abreu for a while. But I'm like, geez, it's been 4+ months. And when he went on the IL, Jose said the back is popped up and gone back, but he's not using that as the excuse. So I want to make it about Singleton, but just saying. Lumbar spine
lower
issue.
lumbar strain.
Yeah.
Went on the IL. But Singleton not only hit 2 home runs, Kratz, he had 2 epic bat flips. Let's not forget.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, bat flip, and they went forever.
Mm-hmm.
Both those home runs. And he's a great story. I was there. I remember when he first came up and the whole story about him getting the big contract kind of before he ever came up. And then he just, like you said, he was out of organized ball for like a few years. I mean, he was playing independent ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then here he is back with the Astros. So good for you, John Singleton. I hope you do well. But unlike what Scott says, you're going to have to really bang to take over for Abreu because they just signed him to a 3-year, like $60 million deal. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but they do like Abreu a lot, though. Talking to the Astros and the players and the coaches and
as a person,
and
right.
Being in the clubhouse,
yeah,
and what he brings other than his offense, they really do like Jose Abreu.
That's fair. So Kratzy will push it forward to Monday because then these two teams split off and go their separate ways. The Astros actually lost to the Marlins. Their offense did not show up well yesterday. They left a ton of dudes on base. But the Angels lost 12-0, probably their worst loss of the year. You could say maybe a bad loss is losing a 1-run game, blown save late, whatever, right? Like the Carlos Estevez blown save and that grand slam for the Mariners a week and a half or so ago. But 12-0. They allowed 24 base runners. They had just 2 base runners for themselves. An infield single was their only hit against Max Scherzer, who was fantastic. We'll get to him in a sec. The Angels are 59-61. And at some point, we're going to do some type of like obit kind of thing for teams once they're done. But the Angels are done, Kratzy. And it's disappointing. And I feel bad for Phil Nevin because he was freaking out in the dugout like, hello, does anyone still care?
He was definitely freaking out. I was watching this game because I had my K props on it, and it was exactly like what Phil. Yeah, this get your heads in the game. Like there was everything. There was 3 strikeouts in the first inning, ending in a clock violation. There was wild-ish pitches, scoring runs. They had 1 hit. An infield single. I get it. It's Max Scherzer. I get it. Scherzer had 11 or 12 strikeouts. I gave up watching after it was 7 strikeouts because that's what I needed. But it was a lackluster performance from everybody. Everybody out there was exact. Phil needed to say what he said, and yeah, they're toast. Just like the toast man says in West Virginia, you are toast.
They're done.
Yeah, well, okay. I think you guys hit on this yesterday. Did you guys hit on the Manny Machado quote about
do or
they
die?
Had to win,
do or die,
and then they lost again last night.
Yeah.
So which one's more done, the Angels or the Padres?
The Angels
are more dead than the Padres.
Yeah, they're further back.
Okay, I mean
they have less to draw from,
and they have less talent. Yeah, I mean the Padres are definitely at this point on life support for their playoff season.
Yeah,
but they're talented enough, even though it hasn't happened at all. They're talented enough to win like 10 games in a row.
We're 120 games deep.
No, I know. I'm not giving them credit anymore. I'm just saying the question is which team is more screwed? Definitely the Angels, based on their surroundings, the teams around them. Like the NL wild card has been much more of an open forum for teams that can struggle for a while and still be involved. That's not the case in the AL. Like the AL's got good teams. We're about to talk in like 8 minutes about the Mariners, who
They're hot as fire.
Are hot as hell. And they're chasing the Blue Jays. Those 2 teams alone, one of them's not going to make the playoffs. They're both really good.
Yeah. Well, the Angels, man, again, when I do these Fox games, I'm fortunate enough to go and get to talk to managers, and you walk in the clubhouse, you get to talk to the players. And I've known Phil Nevin for 20 plus years, and I mean, you look at him, and I feel bad for him because listen, when you go all in as an organization, I personally, this is me personally, I want you to do well because it encourages you and other organizations to go in. When you look at it and you say, okay, well, the Angels went all in and they're 2-10 since the trade deadline, I think it is, or 3-10, right? And then you look at other teams, the Diamondbacks and some other teams that kind of pushed all in and they're falling off. And then you look at a team like the Mariners, who we're talking about, they didn't really do much. They traded their closer and then they get hot, right? Or even it's like I want the teams that go all in to do well because it encourages other teams to go all in. And so, I mean, I feel bad for Phil Nevin. I feel bad for some of the players there, Moustakas and Shohei. I mean, and Mike Trout. He's sitting there. Mike Trout his butt every day. I mean, he's taking fly balls and ground ball or fly balls in the outfield. He's trying to get back to help them. But at some point, if you're Mike Trout, you're like, man, I'm not rushing back because we're out of it. So I feel bad for the players and for the people they brought in and Phil Nevin and Perry Minasian, their GM, because they wanted to win, right? They want to win, and they're just not. And so it sucks because as a fan of baseball, I want teams to try. I don't want to see Oakland Athletics not trying. I want teams to try to win.
I agree. It's just not happening for them at this point.
But why?
There's not enough talent on the roster.
Okay.
They are injury riddled, but
They
so are
have the two
many
best
teams.
players, according to most people on the planet, on one team, and it hasn't worked.
2 players doesn't make you a good team. Ask the Yankees.
Okay,
Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge alone cannot make you a playoff team.
They also have 18 guys, I think, right now on the IL.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Rendon, Ohapi.
I'm not
Neto.
counting Rendon.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Like,
Ohapi,
it's almost
great.
like.
But a lot of teams have injuries, though.
I understand
the
that.
Rangers, who just beat the shit out of them in this game, and Max was great. No DeGrom. Evaldi's on the IL. Jonah Heim's been hurt. Corey Seager's missed half the year. It's great when he's there. They're doing just fine.
I know. That's why I'm saying, are they like cursed? Is it like cursed?
No, it's a poorly run organization. For years, they didn't believe much in pitching. For years, they didn't have much of a farm system. Billy Epler did a brutal job last time around, put them in a bad spot. I like Perry Minasian. I think he's done a good job so far, given his surroundings. But also, you don't have full autonomy there. That's been known for years. He is an owner in Artie Moreno who likes to get really super involved. It's a little bit of Jerry Jones for years, right, with the Dallas Cowboys, where he was super involved. I think he's still super involved. I don't pay as much attention on the football side.
Jerry Jones?
Is he the GM still?
I
don't know. Anyway, Artie Moreno shouldn't be the GM. He shouldn't do anything. He should say, hey, here's your budget. Go have fun. That's what the Braves do, essentially. They go, hey, Alex Anthopoulos.
Though Braves are run by a company.
Great. More teams should follow that.
A publicly traded, and you can buy a piece of the Braves now. Did you know that?
I did. Maybe we'll start giving stock tips again. But anyway, just saying, they're not run well for a long time. Every Angel fan knows that. You're right, though. You have 2 great players, and they can't sniff the postseason. It sucks. I agree. I wish that they were better.
Every pitcher they bring over, like something goes haywire on them.
Yeah. Although Max Scherzer
they are trying to buy they're trying to buy low and hope high, right? Like Syndergaard this year, they bought him low, thinking like, or
that was the Dodgers.
Last year.
Yeah.
Syndergaard was there. When Syndergaard an Angel last year? I thought
Last year.
Yep.
Right, and that didn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they bring in these guys that are buy low and hope for rebounds, and it hasn't worked.
Better to just outbid the Yankees years back for Garrett Cole. That would have been a better move.
Yeah, but I feel like Garrett Cole was he wanted to go to the Yankees.
Not if they offered him $30 million more. Kratz, did you have something?
Scott's getting snippy.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying
I think
there's
more. I think there's more than what, like, just saying, it's a poorly run organization, it's this, it's that. There's more to the mindset of being an Angel. Like, I don't know that, like, and I'm not saying that Shohei or Trout are supposed to change the culture of that team. They're going to change it because they're freaking really good. But when you watch an Angels game, do you sit there and go, man, these guys are really grinding out this game and really trying to get everything they can out of it? It just really feels like the organization puts a team together that's okay being 500 because of the hope signings that they have. Like, go out and sign a pitcher or 3.
Pujols, Rendon, Justin Upton, Vernon Wells, Josh
Love
Hamilton.
hitters.
These are deals that were done by Artie Moreno,
Yeah.
not by the GM.
I will say this. Phil Nevin said the biggest loss of the year for them was when Neto went down this year.
Yeah.
He said, he's like, I've never been around a kid that affects so many things as a young player the way he does, their defense or offense or energy, right? And Neto's been out for a good chunk. I mean, a bit now. And that's kind of coincides with when they kind of started falling off, So maybe
But
I know. It's
I
not fair to put
agree.
the
That's
pluses
their
or
worst
the
loss. But it's
negatives
like
on
a
one
dude
guy.
that
But
got
I'm just
called
saying
up
that
in 5 minutes who's been great for them. That's the whole season right there.
No, I'm not. I
The
know.
Rangers could have said that about Corey Seager, who's an MVP when he's on a
Yeah,
field.
but they also have Adolis Garcia. They have Marcus Semien.
That's the
They
point.
had Jonah Heim.
Better built
Well, of course
organization from
They-
top to bottom.
Oh.
And Max rolled over them. And that was a little bit of a buy low. They're not paying Max that much the next couple of years. He looks as good as ever.
You got rejuvenated. Look, Lance Lynn.
He looks inspired.
Rejuvenated. Max
Lynn.
Scherzer goes to they go from a contender, fake contender, like
Yep.
the White Sox.
Pretender.
In the Mets to a real contender. And they both 3-0 with like unbelievable numbers, their first 3 starts or whatever it is.
Max had a season high 11 Ks. The slider was
By the
nasty,
way,
which
I
had
don't
been inconsistent for him.
I didn't see the whole show yesterday. I only saw a bit of it. Did you guys talk about the Verlander Scherzer thing that came out?
No, we'll get to that.
Okay.
That's what he said coming up
Okay.
later. For now, use the discount code FOUL, FOUL, for 20% off your first order at TizaEnergy.com. That's Charge the Mound, powered by Tiza. Apparently in some big league clubhouses, too.
In
It's
my
good
mouth
stuff. Look
right
it
now.
up. And in Kratz's mouth, because it's no nicotine, no tobacco. We wouldn't do that on this show, obviously. We will never promote tobacco. Okay. Time for our first poll question of the day. Scan the QR code on the screen, or you can hit watchstadium.com/foul territory, which I'll do right now. AL MVP runner-up will be. We know who the AL MVP is. Arozarena, Adley Rutschman, Corey Seager, Kyle Tucker. Who else are we missing? Let us know. We'll swing back. We'll talk to Ryan Divish about the surging Seattle Mariners next on Stadium. Verlander Scherzer drama later, okay?
Well, man, you can maybe even speak to it better than I am, or I can, as far as being a catcher. It is incredibly impressive for a young catcher to come up and to take on the workload that they have to take on. It's similar to like a young NFL quarterback, man. Not only are they expected to know every pitcher on the 40-man, as well as whatever lineup is coming into town. On top of, he's hitting in the 4-hole, hit a walk-off homer for us yesterday. We're expecting offensive output from him. That is a massive workload, man. And the narrative around him before he got here was like, because he's super mellow. He is like one of the most mellow teammates I've ever had, was kind of like, what's the care factor? Does he really, how much does he want it? And that was kind of the narrative. And then he gets here and it's like, man, what a pulse on this guy. Wow, can he slow the game down? It's like kind of crazy how they just flip it like that. But it's incredibly impressive. I think you look at like what an Adley Rutschman did last year for the Orioles, as far as how that team just turned it around the second he made his debut. Go look at us, man. We were like, I think, the worst team in baseball in April. We call them up sometime in May, and we've been right in the thick of it. And I think we're the best team in May. And that's a huge testament to him. Yeah, we've had other pieces come up, a hot Casey Schmidt, some other young guys make impacts, but he's been steady in the lineup ever since he got here. And I mean, we had guys like Logan Webb and Alex Cobb who called their own games, veterans, and they let Patrick Bailey, a rookie catcher, call their games now. So that is kind of can show you how much they respect him and what he's done for us so far. I can't really talk about it enough. I'm sure you're as impressed as I am.
Mm-hmm. And now back to foul territory.
Back on FT Live, Scotty Braun, AJ Pierzynski, Erik Kratz. Let's get into the Seattle Mariners. We're bringing back our friend Ryan Divish. You can follow him at Ryan Divish on Twitter, and also he writes for the Seattle Times, covering this team every day. Ryan, what's going on, dude? What's going on with this team?
Well, they were the hottest team in baseball, and then they ran into the Orioles and got cooled a little bit, and then probably should have won the game last night. They had a crazy comeback against the Royals and just kind of let one slip away. But I mean, July 1st, I was making plans for October, and all of a sudden I've had to cancel those plans because they're making it interesting again.
Do you feel like they sold? What would you call their trade deadline? Because it's weird, right? They picked up multiple players that can help their big league team, including why am I forgetting the name?
Josh
Dominic,
Rojas?
no, Rojas, but Canzone.
Yeah.
And he's playing, and now I think they had slow starts, but they're starting to hit a little bit. My whole thing was, I'm cool with that. Like, you wanted to get a little freshness in a lineup that should have been better up to that point, but why Seawald? Why? Like, you can't tell me you don't need that either for this run or when you're a playoff team. You can't have enough high leverage arms like that.
Yeah, Jared Dipoto speak, he called it buying and selling. Somewhere, or he likes to say threading the needle of buying and selling. 2 years ago they traded Kendall Graveman as he was going into his walk year. And they traded him, and they were a game back in the wild card. This time, I think they were 3.5 back, and they traded Seawald. And Paul Seawald knew he was getting traded. I think part of it is the reason they were able to trade Paul Seawald was because of Paul Seawald's success. The Mariners believe that they can find guys that are going to turn them into leverage relievers because of guys like Paul Seawald. Minor league sign, non-roster invite to camp. He was the opening day starter for AAA Tacoma in 21. They brought him up the same day that Jared Kelenic and Logan Gilbert made their MLB debuts. He got called up, and he just kind of found his way. He was given opportunities. He took advantage of it. And all of a sudden, he became this leverage guy. So I think the Mariners believe, like, look, they did it this year with Gabe Spire, Justin Topa, all these guys that they find, they use metrics, scouting to get them to be better pitchers. And then all of a sudden, they find themselves in leverage situations. But they've lost the last 2 games, in late innings. They've lost their last 3 games, all in late inning situations, in leverage situations. Munoz twice and Matt Brash yesterday.
So are they built to not only make the playoffs, but then make a run? Because now the Mariners fans, the 21 years is up. Now it's time to make a run. Are they built to do that?
I mean, this is what I think. If they get in and you play a 3-game series in the wild card and they run out Luis Castillo, George Kirby, and Logan Gilbert, I mean, like, that's not fun for a lot of opposing teams. And then they bump Bryce Miller into the swing spot in the bullpen and say, "Hey, Bryce, you've got 3 innings. Go out and just throw it as hard as you can for 3 innings." All of a sudden, that it changes the whole math. Like, that's the thing, is like how the Mariners play throughout the season. Once you get to the postseason, their strengths are even more maximized because you're less days. I mean, like, that's what makes them special, is this starting rotation, the starting pitching. Even without Robbie Ray and Marco Gonzalez, they've been able to have one of the best rotations in baseball. And those first 3 guys are studs. And then like I said, you take Bryce Miller, who's a rookie, who's got some of the highest spin rates on his fastball in all of baseball, and you tell him for 2 innings, just empty the tank and go. I mean, that's a really good spot to be in. We saw it last year. I thought that, the Blue Jays had a better team than the Mariners last year. They ran into Castillo. They ran into George Kirby, or they ran into the Mariners bullpen in that crazy comeback game. And the Mariners they probably played the Astros closer than anybody in the postseason last year from the American League side, all because of that starting pitching. So, yeah, if they get in, we see all how close and tight these games are in the postseason. But it's getting in is going to be an issue because they gotta get past the Blue Jays, and it's not easy.
So that's a yes then, Ryan? You're telling us yes, that they are dangerous and can make a run?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
the pitching I get, but is the offense good enough? Because Julio hasn't been great.
He's been
Teoscar
really good.
Hasn't been great. Rowley hasn't had the same year. I mean, you look at their team and you're like, okay, yeah, I understand they have great pitching, but at some point, guess what? The other teams have great pitching too, and you got to find a way to score some runs. And their offense hasn't been good.
No, it hasn't. It's been better of late. Julio's been better of late since July 1st. And I mean, it's when he's good, they're good. I think AJ, you saw him in I think it was in Atlanta and some earlier in the season when he was just swinging at everything. You could have rolled the ball up there and he just swung at it. Everything, any slider away, he was swinging at it. Same with Teoscar. They've gotten better. They've gotten a little more disciplined. France is starting to hit of late. Suarez has been a little bit better. But like Julio has been consistently better, and that's why they've been on this run, is because he's helping make the offense go. He's getting on base. These other guys that they're kind of putting together Rojas, Canzone, Cade Marlowe, the rookie who's kind of filled in nicely for Jared Kelnick. I mean, it's not a pretty offense. It really isn't, but it's been more effective. They're really good when they take a bunch of walks. Cal Raleigh started to hit a few more homers. But yeah, that's the thing is like if they get into the postseason and make a run, they're not winning 5-1. They're winning 1-0 or 2-1 because it's hard for them to score runs still.
Hey, Ryan, tell us about Emerson Hancock making his second start now. I heard some and read some reports about him, and I followed him when he got drafted, that stuff-wise, it's more pitchability and commands, but they've also figured out for him, so he's using his sinker to lefties and kind of keeping it up, but it's worked for him as an approach in the minor leagues. So do you think this is like the next great young Mariners starting pitcher for them, or more of a back end rotation guy?
I think maybe more back end rotation. He doesn't have the swing and miss that like Bryce Miller or Brian Wu or Kirby or even Gilbert. His secondary stuff isn't refined. It's funny, they were looking at his four-seam fastball over the past few years, and it would not carry like a four-seam fastball. It would either kind of just ride like a two-seamer. So they actually just said, well, if it's going to move like a two-seamer when you hold a four-seam grip, why don't you hold it with a two-seam grip and see if you can get more movement on it? And that's been big for him. The changeup's his best pitch, but yeah, he's not going to be like those other guys where he's going to go out and have the ability to strike out 10. He needs to use that sinker to get ahead. He has the good changeup, a lot of ground balls. That's what they're hoping for. The breaking pitchers are still a work in progress, but yeah, of that group of pitchers, he's kind of a little farther behind because he just doesn't have that swing and miss stuff.
Do you see this team in the offseason making a pitching for hitting kind of trade, like long term? You have a lot of guys that was kind of talked about at the deadline. They didn't do that. And I mean, it's hard to give up a young starter. And we'll get to Ohtani in a sec because that helps the cause if you're adding another guy like him into the rotation. But do you think that's the move for them? If when I'm looking at the free agent list right now, it's not an incredible list on offense, Ryan. Obviously, Teoscar's going to hit free agency, but some of the upper echelon hitters after you've got like Matt Chapman and Cody Bellinger, it falls off quite a bit.
Yeah, I think they have to discuss it. I think they discussed it with the Logan Gilbert stuff this midseason. And, the Mariners keep saying that was more of a Cardinals, hey, we looked at Logan Gilbert, and the Mariners are kind of like, yeah, they looked, but they didn't really make a real offer. I think, but if they couldn't sign free agents last year for multiple reasons, one was, lack of payroll budget, but intent. I think it's hard to get free agent hitters to come to Seattle. The stadium still carries a lot of negative factors to it, at least mentally for players. It's cold, the ball doesn't carry. They still don't have the tradition of success. It's far away from Florida and Texas where a lot of players live. So, yeah, it's hard for them to get free agent hitters. So if you can't get the free agent market is bad. So if there isn't a way to address your needs, then you do have to adjust and look at, say, okay, maybe we'll trade a Logan Gilbert or a Bryce Miller because that accesses a player that we otherwise can't get, and we feel really good about the way our pitching is, so maybe that's how you do it. I don't like that philosophy because I think it's really hard to find good starting pitching, even as good as the Mariners are at it, and pitchers get hurt. I mean, look at this year. Robbie Ray was one of the most durable pitchers in all of baseball. He had never had an arm issue that put him on the IL during the major leagues. He's down. He's out for at least 13 months because it's Tommy John and it's flexor surgery. Marco Gonzalez, ultra durable guy for these last few years, out for the season. So, yeah, to sit there and say you never have too much pitching, but if you cannot get the offense you need, then you're going to have to do something. And nothing I've seen says that they can sign the big free agent hitter or they've had the wherewithal to do it. Now let's get to Ohtani because that's a whole different kind of.
Wait, Ryan, they did. They signed Cano.
Yeah, but
they signed Beltre. They signed a bunch of guys.
That was a different ownership group, and I think that's made them a little wary. The Cano one, especially Beltre, Sexton, they didn't love the results. And if you look at the WAR numbers and such, Cano was a perfectly good player for them. He was Silver Slugger 1 year, All-Star. I mean, he produced. The stuff that happened afterwards. And Nelson Cruz, they overpaid for Nelson Cruz by 1 extra year. Nobody wanted to give him a fourth year. They did it, and he paid off. But this ownership group the newer group has been really risk averse in terms of investing a lot of money. And what they point out is, we invested a lot in Julio and Robbie Ray and Castillo. Yeah, that's fine, but you're selling out games and you're making promises of winning the division and competing for the World Series, then you got to do more than they've done. And that, to me, winning takes risks. You have to get out of your comfort zone. It can't be easy. Sometimes you make a mistake and it costs you money, but that can't be a fear if you're trying to win it all. That's the thing. It's like a few years ago, nobody knew if Jock Peterson was really going to help the Braves, but they knew they had to do something. And he did. He became, he was a big time player. They went out and got pieces because they knew they needed to, and they wanted to compete. They had a window. The Mariners haven't done that yet. And I don't know if it's a fear or reluctance or just being cheap, but they got to do something.
The time is now. It is absolutely now. They built for a while. They're good. They have young, good pitching. And we all know that doesn't last forever. So you need to send them a message. I'm pretty sure they're aware. It is going to cost a lot of money if they are going to be in the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes, probably in the $600+ million range. What is the latest? Do you feel like Ohtani is impressed by Seattle fans based on the All-Star experience and any time that he's been around M's fans, and they all seem united in talking to him? And then I don't know much about this, but this is all tied into the conversation. We've had some of our fans in the chat over time this year say, him and Kikuchi, they don't know if they got along or didn't want to be there. And obviously he's not there anymore. So go ahead, unload on everything you're hearing lately.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance. I mean, I think he likes Seattle. I do. I think he likes Seattle. I think he really liked what the Mariners fans did at the All-Star game. It was very spontaneous. His translator or his interpreter and his best friend basically here lives in Seattle in the offseason, lives right by T-Mobile Park. So maybe that helps. He's hung out there in the wintertime at Driveline, which is not Seattle, but very cool. I think with Ohtani, remember when Greinke just said, look, whoever gives me the most money, if it's $1 more, I'll take it. He just kind of said, this is what I want. Nobody really knows what Ohtani wants. I think from everything I've talked to with the Japanese media I've been around and some of the other people, and even some of the players that talk to Ohtani, I think the one thing he wants is freedom to leave a bad situation because he doesn't have it right now. So I think a lot of people believe that he's going to want opt-outs in his contract. Opt-outs after 2, after 3, after 4. So you might have to commit $600 million initially, but there's no guarantee you're going to pay all $600 million. You might get him for 2 years. And if I'm the Mariners, that's a really great 2 years. You have all this pitching. He changes the dynamic, then go for it in those 2 years. If you know that you're guaranteed for 2 years to get him. So if I'm the Mariners, what you do is just make a higher AAV than what everybody else is. If somebody's going 10 years at 60, you just go 8 years at 65 and say you have opt-outs after 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you want to opt out, we'll let you opt out. Give him the freedom. Give him everything that he wants. Because what a lot of people believe is that it's not about money, that it's about comfort level, about doing the things that he needs to be successful, which is 6-man rotation, having all the people that come with him that help him, the masseuse or the trainers and all that stuff, being totally amenable to his needs. And if you're the Mariners, you should do that. You should bend over backwards because they did that for Ichiro. They did that completely for Ichiro. I don't know about the Kikuchi stuff. I do know that he is super deferential to his elders, like Japanese culture. My mom's Japanese, so I kind of have a little idea of it. And I think there was some hesitancy to come to Seattle initially with the shadow of Ichiro looming and all the unknowns about that. I think he just wasn't comfortable with that. I think now he knows who he is. He's the best player of this generation, and maybe I think the Mariners owner called him a unicorn. You can do that. I don't think that the presence of Ichiro hurts the Mariners now. It might help them. So it's going to be all about where he's comfortable. I think it's going to be a West Coast city, like everybody says, and I think he's going to do it on his terms, and it might not necessarily be the highest dollar figure offered, but it's going to be a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to be a place where he has the freedom to leave if he looks at the situation and goes, this sucks, and I don't want to be here anymore.
I like that. Hey, if you're Seattle,
Dude, I'd give
And
him an opt-out year 1, year 2,
that's what I was
year
going
3,
to
year
say.
4.
Screw
Hell
it.
yeah, why
it gets
not?
you over here. Come here. Let's
Whatever.
win together. You like it?
It's the old saying, like, whatever gets him in the door.
Yep.
Right? So whatever you got to do to get him there, then you worry about keeping him. But if you can get him there for 1 year, fuck yeah.
Yep.
Like, do whatever you got. And the thing is, the Mariners are built. They already have 5 pretty good starters, so they wouldn't have as hard of a time filling the 6-man spot. Now, the other starters might be pissed, like Castillo and Robbie Ray, and say, well, I want to pitch every 5th day. But they have
They'll
the
figure it out.
starters.
Yeah.
True. No, I agree.
If Shohei Ohtani's your teammate, you figure it out. You don't get. I mean, and that's the thing is like he changes the dynamic. I mean, those guys don't have to face him a bunch of times. I just think like the players' respect for what Ohtani does and how difficult it is for him to do what he does and how easy he makes it look at times. They will bend over backwards to have him on their team because he plays hard too. You know, it's like people don't realize like how fast he is, how great of a base runner he is when you don't see it in person. And you do whatever it takes for Shohei Ohtani because you want to win. And I think the Mariners, the bulk of the Mariners that are still on this team got a taste of it, and they know that somebody like Ohtani really could push them over the top, you know, to be a division winner, to contend for a World Series. And right now, as presently constructed, you can't necessarily say that.
Do you feel like adding a superstar like that would help Julio in the sense like he doesn't need to feel like he's carrying all the load, or is that not really what's coming into why he's kind of having a down season and he's plastered everywhere all over Seattle?
No, absolutely. I think it helps. I think there is a lot of pressure put on Julio. He has a hyperactive sense of responsibility for this team. He understands what it means to be the face of the franchise. And I think when they were going bad and he wasn't going well, he got outside of what he does well, got outside of his comfort zone. You know, we saw how pull happy he got, and I think that hurt him. You have the All-Star game there. You know, the All-Star game is being played in your home city. He's one of the faces of the organization and of baseball, like a young superstar. There's all this external pressure pushing on him. Hey, you got to get there. You got to put up numbers. You got to be in that All-Star game, as well as internally. The Mariners ask a lot from that kid, sometimes I think to his detriment. So I think he's starting to learn to kind of process what is important, what isn't, but also like now that the All-Star game is gone and past and he's just out there playing again, it's about winning games. And, you know, it's easy for players to have, you know, your focus is still wanting to win and perform every day, but you have all these other factors pulling at you and it creeps into your mind. You know, it's like it's being in your walk gear. Yeah, you want your team to win, but you want to put up numbers because you want to get paid. Well, Julio's got all these other people wanting something from him, needing to do something for him, and I think that was, I don't think it helped him in the first part of the season.
So we got about a minute left. I want to get one fan question in here from Big Daddy. Do you think they're starting to feel the effects? There's more after it, but I don't want to say it. Of JP Crawford on the IL the past few games. Seems like he's been really able to set the tone with getting on base of late, putting pressure on pitchers. Yeah, JP Crawford's had the best season of his career, so anytime that he's going to be missing for them is going to suck, right?
Yeah, he's been their MVP on every level. I mean, you look at his on base, it's top, 3 in the AL. They put him in the leadoff spot when Julio faltered. He's been outstanding defensively. I know the metrics aren't always pretty, but like they lost a game the other day where Dylan Moore was unable to make 2 plays. They were difficult plays, but JP makes those easily, you know, and that cost them. You know, him out for 7 days, hopefully for them and that's only 7 days is big because you lose your starting shortstop and he's kind of their emotional leader. He sets the table. He kind of just brings that edge to him. You lose that for that long of a period or even longer, that hurts you. And they don't really have a true shortstop that they brought in to fill a spot. Dylan Moore's a utility guy. Jose Caballero's a utility guy. They don't have like a shortstop in waiting to take over and say, okay, he's really good. So I've been kind of curious to see how much this will affect him over the games that he's been out. I think they're 1-3 since he's been out. So not ideal.
Ryan, first of all, before we let you go, quick thing. One, you have a Supersonics shirt on, so you want Sean Kemp and the boys to come back. But you also have a Tacoma Rainiers hat on. Have you ever been to a game in Tacoma?
I actually live in Tacoma.
Do they still have the same scoreboard? Because Kratz and I played there. Do they still have the same scoreboard in left field? And is the ball still in the M in Tacoma?
They moved it a little bit over and they redid it a little bit, so it's not the same. I just want to know, did you or Kratz ever go over the wall in center during BP at 420 or about 425, 450 or whatever it was?
Not a chance.
No, dude, come on.
I saw Austin Shenton in one of the the alternate site games take a 97 mile per hour fastball from George Kirby over it, and that was the only time I've ever seen it. Like I watched, there was a team I covered that had Vlad Valentine, Willie Mo Pena, and like Adam Jones and all these guys, and they could never do it during batting practice, and they did it. I think there's only been 2 or 3 in a game that's ever happened. Sin-Soo Choo and AJ Zapp.
And Bam Bam Mullins. Hensley
Oh, yeah.
Mullins did it too.
Wow.
He was
If Eddie Williams didn't do it, nobody did it.
There's like Willie Mo Pena that year. I was like right when I was first starting to cover baseball, and I watched him take BB. It was the most impressive thing I'd ever seen. That was one large human being that could hit baseballs very far and could not hit them in a game very much.
No. Yeah, but man, you get there early, you watch
Ooh.
Willie Mo, it's a show.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Ryan, great catching up with you again, man. Appreciate it.
Take it easy, guys.
You too. That's Ryan Divish. You can follow him at Ryan Divish on Twitter and also read his work in the Seattle Times. Coming back with answers to your poll question, another poll question, and we'll preview tonight's very loaded Tuesday slate on FT Live on Stadium. There's the bat slam.
He said, "This is for charity," and he threw his bat out. That's really bad.
That's a tough
his
one.
His whole glove is outside the square.
I know. So we complain
Rectangle, whatever you
every day for years about umpires. We at some point, and we can talk more about this in the offseason, but at some point we are going to be close to technology saying, hey, I can do this better. You have to fix the glitches because otherwise we know the game. The sport will take advantage of any glitch. Okay? So it can't be like, oh, there's one spot, or we need to adjust the zone first so that this thing is accurately placed, right? Things that are way smarter beyond what I can even tell you on a screen right now. But at some point, we do need to say, hey, robot, what do you think?
No. You're talking about glitches like it's a video game. These are real men playing. Get it out there where they get 3 or 4. Hey, go to the monitor, see if it was a ball or strike. I want to appeal that one, like they do in the minor leagues. I love that.
I like the challenge system.
I like the challenge system. I don't want robots. I don't want that. I want a real umpire. I want the arguments. I want the yelling. I want the yelling from the dugout because you can't yell at a computer if they call it a ball.
Yeah, but there's so much money on the line. Like, imagine if your bank account was still being run by someone keeping track on a piece of paper. You'd be like, dude, it's 2023. We don't do that anymore.
But that's why I think if you're really true to yourself, like an out safe call at first. Oh, no, challenge it. Well, be honest with yourself. Just like at home plate. Now, that's definitely not a strike. And that much is a ball. You know what I mean? So, like, you know your zone. I want to challenge it. You get 3 or 4 a game. You miss one. You get down to 2. If you keep it, then you still stay at 3. 3 a game. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strikes. You're out at the old ball game.
I do believe that is what is going to be the next step. They're going to do the challenge system because that could be a buffer period.
I don't see
to
a
see if they eventually want
tennis.
To take you to
they
all.
do it in tennis.
auto.
Tennis, they start clapping.
I don't think it'll be all of them. I just don't think it's right yet. You heard it earlier. One of our first interviews, we had Joe West on. It's not right yet. And now back to foul territory.
Back on Stadium, Scotty Braun, AJ Pierzynski, and Erik Kratz. First poll done. Quick pick. AL MVP runner-up. Who you got?
I want to say Marcus Semien, but it's not going to be him.
Yeah, Seager is what the people are saying right now. The only problem for Corey
Seager
is
missed
just
too much time.
Yeah, he missed a lot of time.
Semien over Seager because he plays every day.
He does play every day, but we didn't put him on the list.
There's other.
There is other. I think
like
Rutschman getting
second.
some love. Yeah,
I don't think to me Rutschman's numbers don't stack up.
The offense.
Yeah, offensively.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and I love catchers, but
not there for you. WatchStadium.com or that QR code on your screen for the second poll question, which this time we're looking for the real winner. The NL MVP will be, obviously Acuna is leading the pack, and on the BetMGM odds, he's minus 1,000. But Freddie Freeman's plus 650. starting to make a little noise, and Mookie Betts and Matt Olson on the list too. So we'll get your answers later.
Take a peek at Freddie Freeman's numbers against Ronald Acuna. They're pretty close. Freddie's got him in a lot of categories.
Just stolen bases.
Just stolen bases is the only one. And Freddie could probably steal more if he wanted to.
Yeah.
That's not really his game, but we didn't call him Fast Freddie for nothing.
No, but we're looking at the numbers. But yes.
But if you look at it, if you stack them up,
it's close.
They're close. It's closer than what I think people think.
That's fair. Hey, let's hit the games tonight. It's the GameTime app, and if you're in it for the first time, use the promo code FTLive for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So if you hit the app tonight and you're like, screw it, I'm going to go to a game. Weather's nice. It's all-night games tonight. Where are we going? Kratzy, you got a game in mind?
I'm going to the 6. I want to see Wheeler. I was just at the game on Sunday, Phillies game. I want to see Wheeler go up against anytime National League teams that are in it or where the Phillies are. I feel like they're they kind of solidified their spot in the wild card now. It's not more like not chasing them. I want to see him take on some American League teams. I want to see this Phillies lineup figure out a way to not strike out so freaking much. And so I'm going up to the 6, up to Canada to watch Kikuchi versus Wheeler.
I haven't been outside enough, so I want to go to San Diego because I'm sure the weather's great. Plus, Jack Flaherty against Michael Wacha is interesting for me because they both were these super hyped Cardinals guys that you thought might be there for their whole careers and be stars. And it just didn't happen, right? Wacha really for St. Louis probably had his best memories in his first season or so there. And then Jack Flaherty in 2019 was insane, but hasn't been the same since. He's got to change his scenery. So I also just can't look away from San Diego right now. I watch them and I'm just like, is this happening again? Like even yesterday, Bautista was losing it. He was losing his control, walked back-to-back hitters. Machado's up, bounces into a double play. Game over. I'm like, holy shit. They just can't get that big knock.
No. It's the way it is some years.
Yeah. All year.
Die.
Where are you going?
I am going, you guys are going to laugh because you're going to say I'm a homer, but that's fine. I'm going to the Crosstown, baby. Cubs Sox.
Okay, that's
Why?
fine.
For no other reason, the game, I don't give two flying craps about the game, but I just want to sit one time in the bleachers and listen to the people yell at me. See how big of a beer steak we can build. Other than that, the game, secondary.
Do you actually want to go in the stands at Wrigley?
I would have. It would be.
You'd have to come. You'd have to bring.
I'd have to go Bobby Valentine probably with the mustache.
You think so?
No.
Dude,
It'd be that bad?
It would be interesting.
What if you show up with like guys?
What if I'm your bodyguard?
Right.
It would
Bodyguards.
just be interesting to see what people said, and I guarantee you at some point somebody throws something at us.
Really?
Probably a liquid.
Who's the most lovable Cub? Like
player-wise? Right now?
Like, could you bring
Ryan Sandberg.
former players?
Well, if I went with Dempster,
Dempster, Ryan Sandberg,
Kerry
Eddie
Wood.
Vedder, Kerry Wood, and you're just one of them amongst like 6 dudes that they adore.
As soon as one person found out who I was, they would be, Kerry, why are you with him? Ryan, why are you with him? It would be great. I think it would be so fun. That would be, we'd have to have, it'd have to be.
Yeah, you'd have to have
be
a little
people around,
little entourage.
But yeah, I think it would be great fun.
Okay, at some point we can look into it. For now, if you're trying to go to that game, hit the GameTime app. You can see a 3D image of your seats. You move the phone around to check it out. Also, if you're stressed out about last-minute tickets, this is the spot for you because there are last-minute deals. They are a big partner of ours here at Foul Territory for very good reason. They treat the people the right way, okay? If there's upcoming events in your area, they've got it for you. As you can see, you slide to unlock a zone deal at the top of your screen on the app. They hook you up. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. Okay, you can get tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you've got your tickets. It's just so much easier than their competition, and you can snag the tickets without the stress with GameTime. So if you don't have the app, download it right now, create an account, and use the code FTLive for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. You redeem that code FTLive, all caps. Download the GameTime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. There it is for you on your screen. We'll do a little more of tonight's games, previewing them for you with our picks in a sec.
Let me ask you this about the Angels. Ohtani not pitching anymore, like exhaustion, tired, whatever it is. You think about it, it's got to be a tough situation knowing they're trying to make a playoff bid. They should have traded him. I said it from day one. They would have got some crazy people back for him. And now it's like, oh, he's just going to hit now. So what goes there? It's kind of confusing to me. Is he hurt? Like, what's the prognosis you think is going on over there?
I honestly, Todd, think it is actually exhaustion, right? Like we've had since the deadline, it's been the cramping, it's been the fatigue, and it's just a guy that, from everything that the Angels are saying, is exhausted, right? And the production offensively hasn't dropped. Like he has an 1100 OPS since the All-Star break, so that's been able to maintain. But I think it's a guy that has pressures that other people don't have in the game, like trying to be your team's best starter and best hitter without your guy Mike Trout in that lineup, trying to wait till Trout comes back. Says you have to have a really big back if you're Shohei Ohtani, and you're trying to carry this Angels team that hasn't been able to get to the postseason while you've been there in your last 2 months before you hit free agency. Everybody's talking about, you're the best player in the world. You're going to get $600 million this offseason. I think there's pressure there that other people don't have. And I do believe because you're trying to do things that people don't do physically, that does provide some wear and tear. Do I think this means that Shohei can't do it? No, because he's clearly shown us that he can. I just think with the situation that the Angels have right now where you don't have Trout and you're just really hoping that with the moves that they made at the deadline, Shohei being great, that you can get to the postseason. But I do think that wears on you after a while.
And now back to foul territory.
Back on FT Live, AJ, Kratz, Braun, and it is Tuesday. Kratz, do you know what that means?
Heater.
Heater.
Just like AJ would say, throw me the heater after he struck out on a breaking ball.
True. True that.
We throw it every week, okay? So the FT Heater is something that occurs every Tuesday in the BetMGM app. We personally put this together, and we were hot. We were winning a couple in a row. We got destroyed, not destroyed last week. We just got screwed in the 9th. Bautista finally gave one up. So here's what we're going with. It is in the BetMGM app in states where you can use it, okay? So, for example, in Jersey, your FT Heater tonight is at plus 160, now boosted to plus 200. You need the Braves to beat Luis Severino and the Yankees, and you need Matt Olson to record 2+ total bases. Total bases means if you get 2 singles, that's 2 total bases. If you get a homer, that's 4 total bases. So we need preferably just an extra base hit, like a double would even be fine for Olson. I know he usually likes to homer, and a Braves win, and then you will go home happy. Your BetMGM locks. Let's look back to yesterday first. Boo, I'm cold right now. Houston left 10 dudes on base. They had a million opportunities with runners in scoring position. I'm like, really, guys?
Yep.
Texas won for Todd Father, and they covered. And Kratzy hit his usual K props, and he's hot as hell right now. Look at him go. Okay, AJ, you were off yesterday, so you start this off for us.
Well, I'm kind of following up on the heater, FT Heater. I'm going over 10.5. It's a big number. Yankees, Braves, over 10.5. Why? Luis Severino is pitching for the Yankees, and he has been awful would be nice.
Some bettors would call him the gift that keeps on giving.
And I'm rolling with it. And then Bryce Elder was an all-star.
Yeah.
Has not been good the second half. Has been awful would be nice too. So these offenses, the Yankees didn't do a whole lot last night. So I'm thinking it's in Truist Park, which is the new launching pad because the ball just flies everywhere out of there. So I think Olson, Judge, Acuna, name them all, Riley, they all might go deep. And I just think it's like a 7-5, 8-4, just double-digit scoring because, pitching matchup says that, so it'll probably be 2-0.
Kratz, what do you got?
I'm going back 5 days ago. I went with Faedo and Ober, Twins and Tigers, and they're matching up again. I got plus 105 last time. I'm getting plus 100 for both of them to get 5 strikeouts. I need 300 to win 300.
I looked at that. I actually looked at that one, and I was like, I can't do it again. Because I remember, if you remember, we both had that same one, and I was like, I can't go to that one again. Because then I looked at Faedo, and he had 4 innings, 5 on the number, and it scared me away.
Yep.
I'm going Reds money line tonight against the Cleveland Guardians, and it's minus 115. Well, I'm putting down 115 to win a hundo, so I'll give that to you tomorrow. And I think the Reds offense is better than the Guards offense. I like Graham Ashcraft. He looked bad in the first half of the season. His ERA is still close to 5, but now let's see. His last 8 starts, his ERA is at 1.94. You got to watch the walks a little, but the Guardians are free swingers for the most part. They're pretty low in walk rate. Logan Allen's been good. His quality of contact and peripherals aren't as good as his ERA is. And the big thing for me, he's way worse against right-handed hitters. The Reds are full of right-handed bats. So I like their lineup better than the Guardians tonight. I got them just for a win, trying to keep it simple. There it is. Go for it with your locks. And we are using the promo code FOUL. How to get this offer? Sign up and deposit into your newly created BetMGM sports app account on iOS or Android, or you can hit up BetMGM.com if you're not an app person. Place your first bet offer, receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if it loses, and if that bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once the wager is settled. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And again, the FT heater is up for you right now. And if you've been playing along, it's been a lucrative thing for you. So check it out, okay? It gets boosted by a serious margin. 160 to 200 on a boost. That's
nice.
Real. That's fun. Play along, okay? And as you notice, we are picking the national games of the week because I know people bitch more than anything about the blackout restrictions with baseball. I can't watch this. I can't watch that. Well, this is the game that's on, TBS? So for many people, it is attainable. So we're trying to be for you. Pick a game that you guys can watch. Coming up in hour number 2, not one, but 2 player guests. Brady Singer, who went to...
Go Gators. University of Florida. As you would say, University of Florida.
Florida. I've been saying Florida now. I'm learning.
Urban Meyer. Thanks for being a friend. Just saying.
Is there glitter on that?
Speckles. Blue speckles.
Yeah. I never noticed that. And then we'll talk to David Robertson, who's a great interview. And he moved from the Mets to the Marlins. We'll go over a little Mets stuff and a lot of Marlins stuff with him as well. Yes, even the tape in Studio AJ has Gators on it. And then back with the Verlander drama, too.
So I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's Foul Territory, hour number 2 on our YouTube channel. Scotty Braun, AJ Pierzynski, Erik Kratz, and Brady Singer joining us soon. Did you guys think maybe he'd go the distance?
Brady Singer?
Yeah, he had
Absolutely.
a shot.
He was dealing, and then all of a sudden,
I know.
we're not going to say his name.
That doesn't have anything to
Jay,
do with it.
He jinxed him on our chat about how
it didn't help.
It didn't help. Yep.
Doesn't have anything to do with it. What do you mean it didn't help? Maybe it
didn't
would have
help.
helped. Maybe it would have helped. Well, it's okay. We're about to bring him on, and I have a very direct question on the impact of the quote jinx. So we'll get into it with
Wait,
Brady.
did somebody in the dugout in the Royals say something to him?
Maybe.
Oh,
We'll
that's
ask
what you're
him.
going to ask him?
Oh, no, I have a certain way to get into it. So let's do it right now.
Oh.
Brady Singer of the Kansas City Royals joining us on FT Live. Brady, how you doing, man?
Hey, good, guys. How are y'all?
Good, dude. Great watching you last night, put things together. So we're going to start on the superstitious side, okay?
Mhm.
Did you hear or sense in your brain a text message from one of our interns in our group knowing that you were going to come on today being like, guys, look what Brady's doing? Did you feel that, hear that?
No. He said
that
Brady has a
affected your
no-hitter. He said he has a no-hitter in the text group.
I understand.
Not like you see what he's doing. He has a no-hitter going. And then the next fucking pitch.
Bing. I just want to know if you heard
I'll blame him. I'll blame him. Yeah, I'm definitely into the superstitious jinx stuff like that. So if that's what happened, that was my.
Do you believe in it at all, though? Because my thing is, hey, I used to hear that all the time. If I call the game, I'm like, what do you want me to do? Not say what's going on? I don't believe in it at all. Because also, Brady, like, let's say I'm broadcasting for the Royals, and I'm like, guys, Brady Singer on a roll, something special, whatever, but I won't say it. Then the other broadcast says it. Somebody just did it right and somebody did it wrong. Like, you could say the same thing.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely can't jinx it. I feel like the best way, like you said, something special going on or something like that. I feel like you just can't say the no-hitter part. I'm very superstitious. I kind of wear the same everything when I pitch. I do the same routine, every time I pitch too. So I'm huge into superstition. So if that's what caused it, that's why.
Well, did Salvi say anything to you? Kratz will have to say it in Salvi's voice, but did Salvi go up to you and say, "Oh, I gotta do it, Kratz"?
No, he didn't. He didn't do anything like that. Everybody was kind of starting to act, a little weird in the dugout, so I could kind of sense what was going on.
I want to know what Salvi said after you gave up the hit. Did he come out and say, "Hey, Brady, good job getting the hit because, I have a home run already today. You see how much power I have to center field?" What did he say after you gave up that hit?
I mean, he did hit that ball in dead center, and you guys know dead center and Kaufman's a deep part of the field. But no, he just told me to, stay locked in and, obviously get the next guy. He does a, great job in those situations.
How would you rate Kratz's Salvi impression? He's been running it all year. We've been encouraging it.
That was pretty good. Deep voice. That was about right.
And he played with him, so he's got it. He was studying, especially because he was right. You watched him. He didn't let you play, did he?
No, he didn't let me play. He actually came up to me in spring. We took over first place against the Tigers on August 31st, and he goes, "Hey, I got the next 25 games. Okay, I'll be fine." And I literally didn't get an at bat until Verlander. I faced Verlander. We were losing like 10-0. I faced Verlander, and the first pitch he throws me was a changeup in like the 7th inning, and my first at bat in 20 days.
He will play through anything. I mean, he's one of the toughest guys I've ever played with. He'll play through any injury, anything nagging him. I mean, I'm pretty sure he does it every game. Something else is hurting on him, but he'll play through anything. So I got to give him that.
Who says that, by the way? I've got the next 25 games. Not like, I've got the next few. I'm feeling good. The next 25
I would have
games.
loved to have been able to say that and get away with it.
What do you
Yadi
think?
Molina did it.
Right.
Yadi Molina would tell the organization, "You don't even need another catcher because I'm playing." And they'd be like, "Okay, Yadi, whatever you want."
Mm-hmm. Well, Salvi's much the same way, though.
Is.
All right, so other questions for you about yesterday, because it was actually an incredibly entertaining ball game. I know the boys gave up the lead at one point and then got it back. So what was more incredible and rare? Bobby Witt's inside the park homer in 14 seconds or a walk-off bunt?
I mean, you probably got to go with the inside the park home run. I mean, that's just another night of Bobby doing something incredible. He's so much fun to watch and, brings excitement every night. But last night, as soon as the guy missed the ball, I was watching, downstairs underneath the dugout and watching him run around the bases. As soon as he missed the ball, I was like, there's an absolute chance he's going to make it. I know he's going to try. You could just see him flying around the bases. And like I said, it's another night of Bobby doing something special.
Hold on. First of all, Brady, I got to ask you this. That's not inside. For me, that wasn't inside the park. There was like 3 errors on that play.
Yeah, but everything's a hit now.
Dude, the freaking right fielder missed it. It hit his glove, and then he falls down. And then the center fielder goes over and he picked the ball up and dropped it. I mean, listen, I'm happy. Listen, happy for Bobby Witt. But I mean, come on, like there's like 3 errors on that play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there.
But it went down.
I mean,
But it went down to the
just,
homer in the. So okay, so if you're the pitcher, if you're pitching and you're,
I want an
they
error.
give it, you're calling, right? You're like, dude, that's an earned run.
You can dispute it.
Definitely want an error, but Bobby's on my team, so I want the inside the Parker.
Exactly. No, that's a thing though. It's been covered a lot this year that they're giving more benefit to the hitters on scoring decisions. So your pitching fraternity is a little bit pissed, Brady, because have you noticed at all? Sometimes you look up and you're like, oh man, there's an error. And then you're like, wait, what? That was a hit?
Yeah, no, a few times. It's just, I mean, I don't know. It's different on hard hit balls. I've had a couple really hard hit balls at guys that are, considered hits that I thought were errors. But I mean, obviously they were hit super hard, and it's up to the the scorekeeper's decision too, which is tough. But it's hard, obviously, wanting an error against one of your teammates too. So I'm indifferent about it. It's tough.
Yeah, but you're not indifferent about it last night. Like, let's say you give up a rocket and it's right at shortstop and he kind of zoos it.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely want that as an error. Like, you're not a bad team. To me, you're not a bad teammate if you're sitting there going, honestly, like, everybody, like, there's an error. Like, you just you put your gripe in with the league and you get it changed, especially last night.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially with a no hitter. I mean, if I've given up a bunch of hits, I mean, I guess it doesn't totally matter at that point. But with the no hitter, you're probably right.
By the way, humble brag with your old Memorial hat on. Sorry about it.
It's one of my favorite courses.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Obviously, live in Tampa, and I love playing that course.
Yeah, big leaguers. That's
I got the mayor of Orlando next to me, Brady.
He's from kind of Orlando. He's like from Orlando adjacent.
Yeah,
what?
Little
Eustis. I mean, it's kind of like redneck Orlando-y.
Yeah, it's definitely redneck Orlando.
Yeah, see?
How close is it to here?
45 minutes north.
Oh, that's farther than I thought. Okay.
Yeah, it's adjacent.
Where are you guys at?
I'm in Bay Hill.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm downtown.
Brag.
Yeah, it's not Old Memorial, but we try.
I'm downtown.
Brady
I'm
looks
on-
like he's in
the
a
city.
cologne commercial right now.
I wore a T-shirt inside Bay Hill, and that was the biggest against the rules I've ever been a part of.
What happened?
I got kicked out in Tucson. I tried to go to dinner. We had a wedding there. One of my buddies had his wedding there, and we tried to go to dinner. And I had a T-shirt on, but I had a golf vest over it with a collar. And they said it has to be a collared shirt, not a vest. And I got kicked out. And I brought one polo, a golf polo that I golfed in the day before that had a collar on it. So I had to go put on a sweaty golf polo to just eat dinner.
You're rich, so you could have bought a new one. Bay Hill would have sold you a new one.
Team store.
I should have got a Bay Hill polo. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, come on, first rounder. I'm sure you weren't going to Florida for free.
How much you keeping in touch with your UF guys? Because you had a million big leaguers on that team.
Yeah, a lot. Coar is obviously playing with Coar. He's one of my best friends, and in Indy there, we're all part of the same draft class, so we're obviously in touch. We played Indy a couple weeks ago, so got to talk to him and see him, and obviously he's doing incredible. But yeah, we keep in touch, and like you said, that class. The 3 years I was there, a lot of big leaguers came out of that school. So just staying in touch and seeing how they're doing. It's fun to watch them and follow them throughout the season.
How many of the guys you keep in touch with from the WBC and the USA team? And then also, I mean, I have to ask this because did that affect your start to your season because you didn't get to pitch on your normal routine getting ready for the season? In the second half, you've been lights out.
Yeah, it's cool just to see the guys that I played with throughout that whole tournament. I mean, obviously a lot of huge names in the game, and got to see Wainwright there the other night when he were there, and got to talk to Mookie when walking out of the locker room a couple weeks ago when we played the Dodgers. But as far as affecting me on the season, it was weird. I mean, obviously I didn't get to throw that much in the WBC, but I was just happy to be there. I was happy to be with those guys and watch kind of what they do and be a part of that massive tournament. I don't know how much it affected me. I guess you could look back on it and say it might have, but not having a normal build up and being able to get my innings in and pitch in spring training was a little tough, and I feel like it's taken me a little bit longer to kind of get in the routine. But as of late, I've pitched a little bit better and gone back to kind of trusting my stuff a little more, and being in the same routine has definitely helped.
Name drop for us. Who are you keeping in touch with from WBC? Who did you have like either a really good conversation with there or end up being, good friends with from someone that maybe you like grew up watching or admired?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously I got Bobby in the dugout, so I get to see him every single day. But I think the guy that I just enjoyed being around the most was Wainwright. I mean, just obviously so much experience in the big leagues, and he's one of the best guys I've ever met. He's just a super humble, fun to be around, joking guy, and he was just hearing all his, obviously the vet kind of conversations that he was having, the little tricks and cues that he has when he's pitching was so much fun to be around. So I was just trying to kind of follow him around and listen to what he says.
Brady, we need to get Waino 2 more wins, okay?
Yeah,
so he can retire with 200.
Yeah,
he's having a rough go. You guys beat him up pretty good the other day.
I saw that the other day. I didn't know he was, that close to it. So I know he's definitely searching to get those.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you guys. I mean, you guys scored 8 off him in the first inning. I mean,
that's Bobby's fault again. Bobby, yeah,
should have went to Bobby and said, "Hey, Bobby, man, this dude, come on, like that's not."
Bobby needed another homer apparently, so he hit another homer.
Okay, hey, I got a question for you, real quick. Who am I when I tee off in my own golf tournament?
Oh, that's Whit for sure. I knew you guys were going to bring this up, and that's. I'm grabbing a jersey. I'm grabbing one of my old jerseys, and
You got one of these?
He's wearing it. No, I don't have one of those.
Yeah, there you go.
Make him
basketball team wasn't. Basketball team was struggling when I was there, so.
Man, you missed the glory days.
Yeah, you missed the 06.
Jeez,
I know,
they
right?
were so freaking good for a little bit.
I wanted to see like a playoff tournament Florida basketball game really bad, but they struggled a little bit, when I was there.
All right, so let's get into this. So Whit's a regular on this show, one of our friends, and he's got a big golf tournament that's going to include many big leaguers and former big leaguers that are competing. It's pretty serious. We've gone over all of it. So A, are you participating? And B, can you enlighten the audience on the friendly wagering that has gone on between you two on Twitter?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't want Whit to know that I'm mad, but I didn't receive an invite. I didn't get the formal invite. Even though
you didn't get the fancy one?
I feel like I'm one of Whit's good friends, but I asked him to send me the invite list because I wanted to know how many show guys are on this invite list because I want to see who's coming. And my name wasn't on it. And I saw some names on there that I've played golf with before. I feel like I'm better than them. I don't know.
Wow. So wait, so you haven't been officially invited?
No, I'm not on the invite list. I have the invite list, and I'm not on it.
I feel like you are invited though. Is there
I don't want him to know. I don't want him to know that I'm. I don't want him to know that I'm upset, but I'm upset.
Okay. Well, now it's out there.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
no one watches or listens to this show.
Wait, next time. So do you guys play the Blue Jays again this year, or are you guys done?
We go to Toronto later in the year.
So first pitch, you stick one in his hip and say, "Where's my invite? I ain't upset, but that was for not inviting me officially."
I wanted to do it to him when he came to Kansas City, but he didn't play.
Oh, he chickened out.
Oh, he ducked you.
Exactly.
He dodged you.
And then he texted me like he was pissed off that he wasn't playing.
Oh, he had singeritis.
Yeah, he did.
Sinker slider. He didn't want to face that.
No, he didn't. I mean, if anything, he was going to hit a little baby draw to right field and push it. I've seen it a million times.
All right, so then tell us about the wager and what you put out there on Twitter for people that are out of the loop.
Yeah, he I mean, there it is right there. I mean, obviously never going to name my kid Whit, but I told him if, obviously if the, Florida wins the series, he's got to, there it is right there, wear the Gator jersey on the first hole of his golf tournament, his lovely golf tournament that he just randomly, I think it was on my bachelor party that he randomly just thought of this idea. It's actually blown up a little bit. I'm actually excited to watch it and not playing it apparently.
Yeah.
Dude, you're right around the corner. And how good are you?
I mean, I feel like I could go out there and do something. I mean, there's going to be some wild shots, hopefully people not standing around, but I'm going to go. I'm not going to support Whit, but I'm going to go.
Okay, well, we'll be there making fun of everyone and doing interviews and stuff, so you can hang out with us.
I tell you what, if you come into Orlando, get a hold of me. I'll take you to Bay Hill, but you have to wear a collared shirt. Okay?
I'll bring one.
I'm going in a tank top.
They won't let you in.
I'll fight them.
No, you won't.
Literally.
I tried to get pissed. They didn't care. They were
Yeah. No. They don't.
Like, do you know who I am?
No, there are times where I want to go to dinner there, and I mean, you know how close it is to my house. I mean,
Yeah.
a mile or so from there. And I'm like, I have a T-shirt on. I don't feel like putting on a collared shirt. I'm like, oh, guess we're getting takeout.
Literally, as soon as I walked in the door, I'll go.
Sir.
Go.
Yeah.
But
I got a text from Whit. He said you're in the play-in match. You have to get
What
in
is
the play. You have to qualify for it.
What does that mean?
It means apparently you have to win a match to get in.
Who am I playing?
Tiger Woods. You're playing Tiger Woods in the play-in
Exactly.
match.
Exactly. I'm not playing him.
I think he just needs to drill him and send a message.
That's right.
I agree.
Dude, I'm against violence, but I'm all for you hitting a guy. That's not
Especially
me.
when it's your friend,
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, so what else do you like to do for fun? Like if you have an off day during the season, or you've got a week in the off season where things are chill, you don't have to travel or do anything, and you've got the time to yourself. What are you doing?
Well, golf is the biggest thing. I mean, we like to play out on the road. I like to, obviously go out and play different courses and stuff like that. I used to play with Whit until he left. He'd always get us on a good show course on somewhere on the road, but that's usually the main thing is playing golf. I like to fish here and there, and I live in Tampa, so get out on the water and hang out and just be outside. I mean, I think that's my biggest thing: golf and fish and anything outdoors.
And I guess same question. I know you mentioned earlier that you spent a lot of time with Bobby Witt in the WBC, and now you've got him all year here. What's he like? Like, what is he cracking jokes? Is he coming out of his shell a little bit more? Like I felt like I've known him and at least called games and spoken to him since he was probably like, I don't know, 17 in some of those like prospect kind of games. So what's he like now? That he's got a couple years in the show and obviously he's having a really good year.
Yeah, well, he's extremely humble. I mean, it's cool to watch him every night do what he does, and be the superstar that he is, and then just come in and act like kind of just nothing really happened. But it's funny because we kind of make fun of him because he's still a kid. I mean, he is legit acts sometimes like a 13-year-old. Yes, the other day he was eating the burger and he was just playing with his food. I'm like, Bob, you're like 23 years old in the show. Just stop playing with your food. He's a little kid, so he's a blast to be around. But like I said, every night it's something new, and he just enjoys playing the game so much. So much fun to watch him play every day and do what he does.
I love playing with my food. I don't understand the big deal. I'm 46 and I still play with my food.
Well, you're a kid though.
True. Hey,
yeah.
Brady, Sully, your guy Sully's in Orlando today. And I texted him. I said, hey, I'm sorry you have to spend a certain amount of time with a friend of mine who he's with. And he big leagued me and texted me back, I'm in a meeting till 4. And I'm like, I know. I text you who you're in the meeting with. And you didn't respond. So it's Sully. That's Kevin O'Sullivan, the Gator coach. Has he ever big leagued you like that?
No, not too much. I saw him the other day. I went to the College World Series and got to see him and, see the team and all that. And that was cool to go back there. But no, he's usually good at responding to me. I don't know what he's in a meeting for. I mean, I feel like he's been there for however long. He should have everything, figured out by now and be done with the meetings. But no big league. He's usually pretty good on answering me and texting me back.
Speaking of jinxes and big league jinxes, weren't you and Coer at the championship game, the game 3?
Yes.
So it was your fault they lost.
Yes,
I know. I left in about the 4th. I mean,
before it got really
I drove
bad.
down there. It's about 3 hours from Kansas City, and I went down there because I had to go see him, the championship game, and then it got kind of out of hand, and I left a little bit early. I was pitching the next day too, so I had to get home.
Secretly now, don't lie. There was a little piece of you that was like, "Hey, we won in 17." Like,
no,
I want to be the only one still.
No,
I mean, come on.
No, it is cool. I'll agree with you there. It is cool that we're the only one to win it. But no, I wanted them to. I really liked watching that team. That was a cool year to sit around and see them play, and they competed like hell every night. So I was excited to see them win, and I don't like LSU, so I was anything to win.
Yeah. You're being honest, but the reason AJ said that is because this is why the White Sox have stunk since 05, because he's working for him and he's cheering against him. So
Exactly.
You guys are good. You guys will always have the White Sox in your division, and AJ cheering against them and working for him.
Yep, for sure.
Hey, do you wish – so you missed it by, 3-4 years. Do you wish that they had all the NIL stuff when you were there? I mean, you could have been, like, rolling around campus with the Range Rover or whatever.
No, dude, he's from Tavares, dude. He's getting a jacked up truck, dude. I can't see him in a Range Rover.
What's the
I
jacked
don't
up
have one of
truck?
those.
A jacked up truck. You
Like,
don't know
what's
what
I know what a jacked up truck. I'm saying, like, what is it? What's the truck brand? Brady?
I have a GMC 2500 jacked up truck.
There you go. So do you wish you had a little NIL action going on when you were back then? I mean, obviously you couldn't do it. Hey, shit went down for years in NCAA, but now you can really get after it. It's like, oh, hey, you want to pay me for a social media post? And really you're just giving me a ton of money?
Yeah. I would have loved for Sully to give me a nice jacked up truck. That would have been awesome. Yeah, definitely would have loved some cash or anything like that. I don't know what I would have spent it on or did anything with. We were just a bunch of college kids running around. I don't know what we would have done with more money in our pockets, but might have been fun.
The game has changed
a lot.
I'm learning a lot from AJ, all about it. The game has changed.
You would have been a big hit at the Swamp if you would have.
Yeah, exactly.
If you would have had extra cash.
Oh yeah,
you could have been like, let's make shots for everybody.
That would have been a lot of pressure. Actually,
they tore it down.
I know. They rebuilt it, but it's not the same.
It would have been a lot of pressure though, because now people kind of know. You know what I'm saying? Like, what they'll be like, dude, you're the star of LSU. You're rich, right? Like you're at LSU. It's like Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz. They're like, you're paying for us for every freaking meal.
Livy Dunn?
Well, that's another level. I mean, she's a super influencer or whatever. But even the athletes now, right? Like in the past, you'd be like, nah, dude, I don't have any money. Like I'm on a partial or a scholarship, and that's all I got. Now it's like,
Game's changed.
Game has changed.
Brady.
Yeah,
I got a quick ask. All right. You're a big leaguer right now. You get your name on your jersey all the time. If you go to a sporting event and you see a dude wearing the team that you're watching and his name's on the back, is that kind of wonky? Are you like, you don't need to see a Pierzynski Florida jersey?
Never worn it.
What do you think about that? Don't be manipulated.
I've never worn it. Never worn it. I got a lot of them. I've never worn one. I got a lot of them.
You didn't play UF hoops?
I did. I was I was the backup to Joakim Noah.
Yeah, sure.
For 2 years.
Brady, what do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know if they want to do it, then sure, more power to them. But I want to see this Pierzynski jersey. Do you have it?
I just showed you basketball.
The basketball one?
Which one do you want? You want football, basketball? I mean, you
have every sport with.
We got basketball. I got a baseball one.
Yeah.
Look at the back.
Baseball one too.
Yeah, I got.
You need the new. Do you see the new black football jerseys?
I did. I probably won't be able to get. I probably won't have one of those. Maybe.
You already have one?
I have one coming.
Yeah.
I like the black ones. Those
black
are cool.
ones are nice. Black helmet, all black. They've been crying for them for years. It ain't gonna help them win.
Yeah.
They haven't had. It's
They've
new.
never had all black this year.
Are they
November 4th? They're gonna wear them.
Okay, because I was gonna say, don't wear them too early in the season.
Yeah, you'll sweat to death.
I mean,
Brady.
Hot.
Wait, were you there when they wore the alligator ones?
Yeah, it was.
I have one of those.
They brought the gator onto the field.
Yeah, I have one, but I have to get up to get it. Yeah, Eggy sent me a baseball one.
Oh, did he really?
Eggy. Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought an alligator on the field? Is that what you said?
They wore the alligator print. Yeah. I showed it to you.
But they brought a real alligator on the field?
They lost too.
Yeah, they brought a gator onto the field.
Why? Why are they bringing a gator on the field?
Because the whole point to the uniform was it looked like alligators.
Right. I understand that. Okay, cool.
Why not?
I don't know. It's kind of random.
Wait, what was Brady had a question? I thought.
No, but I was just saying they did bring the gator on the field. What's funny is there's gators all over that campus. Like, actually, I'm used to them, but I mean, people are just walking around and there's gators and they're walking near them, and I'm just like, I mean, it could kill you. It's not gonna like come out and grab you, but you're getting a little too comfortable with it. But
I'm gonna take Scotty there to Gainesville.
No, this is
and
a
I'm
very
say,
common
hey,
debate.
Go for a swim in Lake Alice, and you guys
go to
swim
Lake
all the way
Alice. There's
across.
no gators in it.
No, not one gator.
Brady, I went to University of Miami. There were gators everywhere on campus, and I was surprised about it. I was like, this seems weird because, you see kids walking around campus super late. They don't even know what their freaking name is because they drank too much. And I'm like, and there was one time I was picking up some food at like the convenience store, and I almost stepped on one. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, they're just like lurking in the grass right next to the walkway. Like, I'm doing my thing.
What's the Paynes? Is it Paynes Prairie right next to the? I think it's like a, I don't know, huge swampland, and there's a walk, like a long grass walkway that me and my wife Tori went to when we were in school, and it's just this like road that you just continue walking down. It's the most gators I've ever seen in my life. It's like every 3 feet there's a massive one sitting on the bank, and they're like right next to you. And all these sorority girls and guys are just walking down this, having a nice like evening walk, and they have no idea that there's just a million gators just right next to them. And I think somebody brought their dog out there one time, and obviously the gator came up and just ate the dog. I mean, it's just, people just have no care in the world.
It's crazy. That's the one thing I don't understand down here, and we don't have time for it. Plus, it's like it's a little bit of a story, but you can look up, you can Google why they do not have gators on campus at UM anymore in Miami. They got rid of them. Not like killed them. They just they cut off entry points for them.
Steroids.
For their safety. There were issues with the students.
There's a lot of things Brady and I would say, because I'm sure our feelings on Miami are about equal.
We're
just going to not say anything and just take your word for it.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Correct.
Thanks, guys. All right. Well, thanks, Gators. We'll see you later. Later, Gator. Brady, thanks for joining us for the first time, dude. We'll see you down here for the golf tournament so we can throw stuff at Wit.
Are you guys going?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, we'll be there. We live here.
I'm just gonna follow Witt around, just mess with him the whole entire time, and try to piss him off at his own tournament.
You're gonna play. There's no way you don't play.
We'll have fresh beverage waiting for you, and maybe we'll mic you and Witt up so we can just have you two go.
I need a mic, and I'm walking right next to Witt. I might carry his bag and just hand him all the wrong clubs and screw with him.
He's gonna be like in Happy Gilmore, the guy that follows around Shooter, and he's like,
yeah.
Hit it off my foot, Shooter. Play it as it lies.
Exactly. Had to play it off of Frankenstein's fat foot over there.
Yeah. Brady, we'll see you then, all right? Good luck.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. It was fun. Appreciate you. Brady Singer of the Kansas City Royals joining us on FT Live. Oh, we'll be there. We'll be there in
one way or another.
In the wintertime.
We're going to have to pay for tickets on GameTime?
Not if you put those on.
Oh, which ones? Oh, I'm just going as a spectator, so I don't need to put my agent ones on.
I want to let everyone know. There we go. Shady Rays, another proud sponsor of FT Live. You can gear up for the season with quality shades built to last. I want to actually just read it. Just leave it on AJ and just see his modeling skills. Go ahead. Let's see. There we go.
This is Magnum.
Premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. It's an independent sunglasses company giving you world-class product. It's just not breaking the bank for you. That's the good news, okay? And every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. The policy is there for you. And if you lose or break it day one, which we're not going to do, but if it does happen, they've got you covered. No big deal. You don't have to cry about it. They're here for you, okay?
Kratz is speechless because he stared into these baby blues.
I mean, one time, put the sunglasses on and smile. Like you put them on and you're like, Like put a happy face on. You got Shady Rays. They're so light.
This is Blue Steel. Ready?
Great game face from AJ. If you want to be like AJ, exclusively for the Foul Territory fam, they are offering you their best discount of the season. Go to shadyrays.com, use the code FOUL, F-O-U-L, for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades, rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. By the way, coming up soon on this show is none other than David Robertson, who is the former New York Metropolitan closer, now the current Miami Marlins super reliever, pitching for a playoff team now. It's crazy still for me to say that. David Robertson on August 15th is on the Miami Marlins, right? I mean, we asked it to Max the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, Max, if I told you on April 1st that you were going to be on the Texas Rangers, what would you have said? He was like, if you told me that a week before I was traded, I would have thought you were crazy. So, interesting.
Before we get into the next thing, I have to admit that I was just stoking the fire. Whit didn't text me. I just want to hear what Brady has to.
I mean, I knew that. I don't know if Scott knew that, but I knew that.
I knew you knew that. There's no way Whit would have texted me that. So it's. I love poking the bear. So he was definitely irritated about it, and so I'm excited to see what happens now.
Of course I knew that. I am a little gullible and ditzy, but no, I did know that. I did not figure that Whit was sitting there gripped to the screen wherever he is now.
I thought maybe you thought Kratz texted him and then he got right back to him.
Yeah, that could happen, but no, I didn't see it. All right, let's do a little That's What He Said. This is actually like a very loaded segment today. Quotes from the game. So let's start with a great article that I picked up in The Athletic written by Rustin Dodd on fights in baseball and how there are much less of them nowadays. And I'm going to paraphrase so we don't have time to cover all of it. But, more money on the line for players and more of them have played together so they know the guys. But fuck all that. Here's the money quote. Sal Fasano, who's the catching coach, who
I played against Sal Fasano.
Yeah. He's a great interview.
Great mustache.
He said on why there are less fights nowadays in baseball, and this is all revolving around, Ramirez and Anderson and how that went viral, okay? Quote, well, we don't have steroids and we don't have greenies. There's a lot less fights now. Boom. Mic drop, that's it. There are not raging drugs all over the clubhouses that are causing dudes to beat the shit out of each other.
I miss them.
You miss what?
The fights.
I thought you were saying you missed the drugs.
No.
You missed the fights.
Yes.
Okay, well.
If you look at it from perspective of a fan, okay, there's 162 games in a season, and some teams do well, some teams don't do well. But if you go to a game and there is a bench clearing brawl, and I'm talking like not where they just run out. I'm talking Tim Anderson, Jose Ramirez. I'm talking all the one. I mean, there's been a lot that people have forgotten over the years because just television and every game wasn't televised and all that. But if you're in that crowd for that game, you never forget it. You never forget where you were, what you were doing. I mean, how many people have come up to me and said, "Oh, I was at the Michael Barrett game." I'm like, "Yeah, me too." Not that I'm condoning fighting, but the game is better from a fan's perspective when your team, whoever your team is, does not like, and there is a rivalry, especially with the division teams. It means more to everybody. And now we've lessened those to 19 to 13, so it's lessened the playing numbers, and we've kind of watered it down. But when you played a team 19 times, I think Kratz will speak to this too. Like by the time the 19th time came around, you're like, I am fucking sick of seeing these dudes on the other side. Right? And then just little things that happen. Something would have happened in April and you're in September and you're fighting like hell to get in the playoffs and they do something. You're like, well, remember that time in April and he said this and you're like, oh, yeah, let's go. Right? Well, we don't have that anymore. And it's kind of, I mean, again, I'm not condoning fighting, but.
I'm going to dispute that, though, because that's exactly what was going on between the Guardians and the White Sox.
But it's
there
so
was
rare.
Beef dating back to last year where Elvis Andrews was like, yeah, they're going to fade away. Talking about the Guardians.
And the Guardians won and were like, fuck the White Sox. Remember they had a whole chant?
That's the good stuff. And then it carried to this year and there's chirping throughout the season. And then boom, there you go. So, yeah, I mean, Dempster hitting A-Rod. We talked about it on Legends Territory. We actually talked on Legends Territory to Howard Johnson about this too. And he went into it like fights and greenies and all of that. So greenies, by the way, they'll make you a little more jumpy, a little more alert, a little more anxious to jump out of the dugout and back up the boys.
Yeah, but what you're talking about is like it building up. with greenies and steroids, it wasn't building up. Like, it was like, what? First time you said something? Nope, that's it. And then they're just going at it.
Whoa. I'm gonna stop. What? Oh, you didn't have either one when you played. I was in the middle of that shit.
Yeah, right.
When did they start testing for steroids? 2004.
You think I didn't play in the minor leagues when there were steroids?
What year did you sign?
2002, I got drafted.
Okay. When did they ban greenies?
2006.
That
was the biggest thing.
I'll say this. And people out there are going to say I'm full of crap. Fine. Bigger than the steroids.
Yes.
That was a bigger deal.
Elaborate.
Because you want to see a bad baseball game now? Watch a team, extra inning game. The extra innings have been cut down, but extra inning game, Saturday night, Sunday's a day game. Watch how piss poor that game was the next day. It was awful usually because guys were exhausted and they turned around so quick and they had you can only drink so much coffee.
That's what I was going to say. Just caffeine your ass off.
But you can only drink so much of that.
Some other supplements.
It wasn't this. I'm telling you, you wanted to see a bad game, day game after night game. So like in Cleveland, they always have noon games, right? And you go, say you went 12, 13 innings the night before. Well, there's only so many guys you can take out of the lineup the next day. There's 6 or 7 guys that have to play. That next day, bet the under, and it's going to be a disaster. And it's going to be watched. It was kind of a known thing that.
Well, there's less extra inning baseball now. I don't think that's an accident. Obviously, it helps on the injury front, but also sometimes extra inning ball would get really repetitive with the same big ass home run or nothing swings, and then the dudes the next day were feeling it. So That makes sense. All right, we're ready for our next guest. Let's bring him in. I'm sure he loves this combo. David Robertson joins us right now on FT Live.
So, David, how many steroids and how many greenies did you do back in the day?
None, man, none.
We do like to carry our combos, and this was not on purpose. We just are rolling for a couple hours every day into our interview. Here's the one thing I will ask you that I think you're okay to answer, okay?
Okay.
Jose Ramirez against Tim Anderson in the fight that went down. Your thoughts on that, and do you agree with AJ that at times it's good to have like that heated, almost like hated rivalry between teams to market the sport?
I mean, I don't want to say too much about those two going at it, but I will say that like fans like to see fights. I mean, I like to see them. I don't really like running all the way from the bullpen because I never get involved in it, but it's fun to watch. I mean, I watched the video and saw it. You can't help but see it when it happens. Same with hockey. You want to see some action.
Yeah, well, it's like, when you run in, you show off your calves. So you run all the way in on your toes and showing off your calves. And by the time you get there, you're like, oh, cramping my calves. I had to run that far. With the pants up. And so you're like, that's why you couldn't fight. It has nothing to do with being tired.
It's a long haul in there, man. And no one really ever scrapped when I've been in there. And the problem is I get in there and everybody's so much bigger than I expect. Like when you grabbed me, or when Kratzy grabbed me and Zach Duke in one brawl and squished us together like this and neither one of us could get away, it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
Hold on.
Yeah, I was gonna chime in here. First of all, it wasn't just you and Zach Duke. Okay, Zach Duke was behind there. I had your shirt and I had Matt Albert's jacket.
You broke his finger on accident.
So the fight. All right. So a little backstory. A little backstory for this fight. It was the White Sox Royals fight back in 15.
Yeah.
And everyone's running out. We run out of the bullpen. Kelvin Herrera throws like a haymaker from behind the pile from the bullpen. And D-Rob, Zach Duke, and Matt Albers were all pissed because they saw it coming in from the bullpen from the other way. And I was like, I'm not going to sit there and throw any haymakers. So I see them pissed and like, hey, that's bull. And I grabbed D-Rob's shirt and I grabbed Matt Albert's jacket and I twisted them so they couldn't get away. And I pushed them both into Zach Duke. And Matt Albers goes to slap my hand away and he slaps it again. And I never thought anything of it. Fight went somewhere else. broken finger. Only injury from the whole fight was his broken finger on my hand.
Look, the best part about that was like 2 days later, his finger's all purple, and they're like, "Dude, it's broken." And Herm Schneider had him try to tape it together. He's like, "Just go pitch with it taped together. You'll be fine."
Hey, did Herm give him the prongs?
Pins put in it.
Hey, David, did Herm try to give him the prongs and be like, and he prong it? And he's like, "It'll be fine. Just a couple prongs."
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "Oh, it's fine. It doesn't look too bad." I'm like, "It's bent the wrong way and it's purple." I'm like, "That thing is ruined."
All right. So anyway, that was more than I expected.
I didn't know that was coming.
I love that. I think underrated is also Kratz as a house, but we'll get to that. How's the Marlins? How's life in Miami? And also the surprise factor that you ended up there. I'm sure if we spoke, because we had Max on the other day, and I was like, dude, if I told you on April 1st or something, you're going to be on the Rangers, what would you say? It was like, if you told me that a week before I was dealt, I would have thought you're crazy.
Yeah, I was a little shocked to come to the Marlins, only just because teams don't really traditionally trade in division. That was really the only shock. I knew I was probably going to be moved, and I feel like there was a lot of teams biting to get me, just because of the I could pitch in pretty much any situation out of the bullpen, whether it's middle innings, late innings, doesn't really matter to me. And everyone's always looking for bullpen help down the stretch, so. I knew I was getting moved, a little shocked to go to Miami, but it's been great so far. I mean, when I first got here, I got roughed up my first couple of outings, but I've since then, settled down and figured it out and adjusted to, pitching here in this dome, which is just way too comfortable for me. I'd rather be a little hot and sticky or rainy or, just have the elements going at us. But I'm getting used to it.
You knew you were going to get traded because you've never paid for the end of a season move away from a team. Like, you're always getting traded, and you're like, oh, yeah, I got to move everything back to my house. You're always getting teams to pay for it, so you knew you were getting traded.
100%. I'm just sticking them with that bill every time. Here's my rent check. You can go ahead and pay for the rent in the city I was in, and I'll try to figure out where I'm going to stay next.
I love that. Have you been with a team that's had the retractable roof like the Marlins in your career? Have you had any of those? Or you've been always weathering the storm in Philly and New York? What do you got?
I spent a little time in with the Rays in 21 when I was coming back from surgery and stuff. But that one doesn't retract in. I can't see the baseball there. But I love Tampa, so that was a nice visit home.
The lighting is better in Miami's ballpark than Tampa
sure.
Bay, and that goes for just about any ballpark.
You don't have a white roof either.
Yeah. Tampa's tough, no doubt about it. So, what did you think of the rest of what Miami did? I mean, I lived down there for a while. It's cool to see this team competing now, and it's not just trading for you. You were the first move, and then they add some more, including Jake Berger, which I think was actually one of the more surprising deals, just because he's young, former first-round pick, and he was crushing it with the White Sox. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, you got a 40-plus homer bat. Let's go.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, you don't see guys usually who have that much control get traded, but that was the White Sox. They were moving everything and trying to, start another rebuild. So,
hey, you love the White Sox.
I'm glad we got him. I mean, he hits balls hard. He's scary at the dish. I mean, I've seen him hit him 118, 119. He's a dangerous bat up there. You hang it, he'll bang it.
Hey, don't talk trash about your favorite organization, okay?
Stop it.
I know you spent a long time there. You got some big knocks off me when I played against you.
Cutters and curveballs. Cutters and curveballs. David Robertson.
That's
Here he came.
man.
High Sox, cutters and curveballs. Hope I could throw one over the shortstop's head off him.
That's what you would hit it out of the mitt. I would get so frustrated. Like, how did he do it again? It's a laser every time. I thought it was by him.
Hey, David, speaking of the High Sox, you and your wife have a nice charity thing you guys do, the High Sox for Hope. Can you talk to us a little bit about what it's for, what it's about, and how it started?
Yeah, well, it started back in 2011. My hometown, Tuscaloosa, was hit by a really bad tornado, and it killed, I want to say, 38 or 39 people there. It took out about 15% of the town. And a lot of people I knew and a lot of people in the area just lost everything. And it's tough when, you can't get any help because Joplin got hit right behind it. So we started a foundation and then moved on from there to a 501c3 and have been working with all sorts of people, including Nick Saban and Habitat for Humanity, for just getting people back into houses. And then whenever they're back into a house, we come in and would furnish the entire house for free of charge, just get them back on their feet and get them back into everyday life. We've also done a lot of work with a lot of the VAs in Alabama and some other states where we've gone in, and whenever someone who's kind of fallen on hard times, one of our military and is moving back into the VA or is getting housing within the VA, we'll come in and furnish their houses there as well. So we've continued to grow. We've continued to keep doing what we're good at. But obviously, there's always someone that needs help. There's always some other disaster that's happening. So we're a very small organization, but we've managed to help, thousands of families, and we're going to continue to keep providing help when we can and relief when we can.
No, that's great. And how can people help, or is there stuff on socials?
Yeah, well, it's tough. I've been moved around so much and having 3 kids and an infant now, but we have highsocksforhope.org is one way you can look at it. And we're on Facebook as well. And we have our one employee, Judy Holland, who's a saint. She takes care of majority of everything because I'm just busy with baseball. And my wife has 3 kids that she's having trouble wrangling around.
No, that's fair. That's great, man.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot.
I have one more Mets question, then we'll get back to Marlins. Did you so Max told us, he had the combo when the team was starting to split up with Epler and then with Cohen. Did you get to have your Steve Cohen combo? Like, listen, I want to know about the future here before the move was made. Max had to kind of talk to them to be like, are you guys really kind of getting rid of this whole team here after a few months?
I never really had that conversation before I was moved. I did get a phone call from Steve afterwards, just thanking me for being there and, for my efforts on the field, which was very nice of him. But I'd talked with Billy Epler quite a few times, and he'd kind of explained where the team was at and just kind of kept me in the loop of whether or not if I was being moved or if I was drawing interest. And I just kind of had to just wait around and see if, the move was going to be made for guys that they needed to help build their organization. So I was just kind of waiting around at that point to be moved. But they kind of kept me in the loop. They were very friendly and very nice and open about it.
No, that's great.
No, that's awesome with them.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that veteran respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you got?
All right. So, David, we just had.
Yeah, dude. you don't want to hear him every day lately.
David, we just had Brady Singer on, who went to the University of Florida. I know you're an Alabama guy. So, give me your favorite Alabama player of all time.
Alabama player of all time? I loved Jalen Hurts a lot. I have one of his jerseys. I know he's a recent player, but I always enjoyed him. Tyrone Prothro is another one. I mean, but Hurts always
nasty. He had a nasty. Did he break? Wasn't he the one that broke his leg?
Yeah, against Florida. Late in the game there. Yeah, it was a tough one to watch. He was just he was like one of those spark plugs that if you got the ball, you just never knew what was going to happen. He was so quick. But I love Jalen Hurts' ability to just take the ball and just be a beast out there on the field, whether he needs to throw it or run it. And now he's doing it for the Eagles. I mean, I know he transferred and went to Oklahoma, but I still love him. He was a great player.
Does he still count? Does he?
Yeah.
Because when he does his introductions, though, he says Oklahoma. He doesn't say Alabama.
It's okay. I mean, maybe he had a bad taste in his mouth when he left, but it's all right. I'm a fan. I can still love him for it. We had him for a few years.
D-Rob, we just had Singer on. Would you ever wear a Robertson, Alabama football jersey?
No.
Thank you. Okay. So my next.
Okay, wait. Before no. Okay, so we have to go. We have to show him. Okay. Here.
Otherwise, he's like, "What are you
Otherwise,
talking about?"
Okay, look. So I have numerous of these. Okay. I've never worn them, but I have them. They've been gifted to me over time, okay? But I've never worn one, so Kratz is super mad that he doesn't have an Eastern Mennonite Kratz jersey to wear.
What are you talking about? I totally do.
Peanut butter jelly. I mean, I've got a few soccer uniforms that people have given me from going to games, and I've never worn them. I mean, it's football, too.
And they say Robertson on the back?
Oh, yeah. They're showy. They're like paper thin. I wish our uniforms were made out of that. Be amazing.
Hey, when we played together in 2017, you said you wanted to sign with a National League team so you could get an at bat.
Oh,
Well, you got your at bat. Are you satisfied?
No, because he was throwing it so slow. It was like he was throwing it up into the sky, coming down, and I just couldn't hit it. I was like, throw it harder.
Oh, so you had all these years. You had 10 years till you get this at bat, and I mean that's all you talked about. You're like, I gotta sign with a National League team. signed with the Phillies. Obviously that didn't go well. But come on, you had all this time for this at bat. The only person that waited longer for their first at bat was me. But you screwed the pooch. You had a position player.
I know. I couldn't get it done. I was not walking, that's for sure.
And you punched out.
I did. I sure did. I couldn't get the barrel high enough. I tried to hit it in my eyes, but it didn't happen. If I could have quit smiling and maybe focused a little bit more, I might could have done a little better.
Okay.
That's the thing. So I just wanted to, for the record,
Yeah.
David Robertson just said, like every high school kid that Kratz and I help coach, he's throwing too slow, coach. And then they face the guy throwing 90, and he's like, he's throwing too hard, coach. Well, which one is it? I mean, I'd rather have the slow guy.
Not 52, maybe like 78. 78 would probably have been about right.
You should have got a
90
and brought it out
would have
there.
been by me in the mid.
Well, that's like the people that complain about the weather. It's too cold, it's too hot. And I'm like, which one do you want? Like what? And they're like, 75 and sunny and a breeze.
72 and sunny.
Yeah. Like a retractable roof and an indoor situation.
And he's complaining about the retractable roof. Now it's all making
No, he
sense.
likes the retractable.
I'm a pitcher. That's what we do. We're in the bullpen. We just complain about everything.
Yep.
Hey, in Miami, are you complaining about the loud music and the dancing girls on the tables?
They don't have that anymore.
I can't tell you how many times I've complained about the music being too loud here. I'm like, I can't think out there. I can't even hear the pitch comm in my ear when I'm warming up in the bullpen. I'm like, it's just too loud.
Wait, you use a pitch comm in the bullpen?
Well, you put it in if I'm warming up in the eighth, so you don't forget it. Because if you run out there and forget it, you can get I don't know, some kind of new rule violation or something.
Violation.
So you put it in, you warm up, and then like every now and then you'll hear it'll be like you'll hear the pitch that's going on out there, and then it's like then there'll be a pitching change and you go in. So you kind of got it in your ear.
All right, I'm going to talk.
Anyways.
I'm going to talk to the DJ out there. I know the DJ. So.
By the way, because you have to go, did you see Max yesterday get the strikeout on the pitch on the violation? He was pissed he didn't get to strike him out on his own. He slammed the ball out. I was like, damn it, I was going to strike him out on my own.
I get it though. It's not fair. The rules are. Listen, that's a whole nother.
David, we'll talk in the off season. How about that?
Yeah. You get me on the off season, and I'll start spewing about everything that.
Yeah, you will.
Hell yeah. We will hit you up. We got you in 2 months, dude. In the meantime, go ride this thing to a playoff run, all right? We're watching.
All right. No, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers. Appreciate you. Thanks, man. There you go. David Robertson, Miami Marlins. Good stuff. Yeah, he's a great combo.
That was funny.
So, I take notes. I'm putting it in my notes. Off season, we'll get back into it. I think there's a lot of guys like
Scherzer
that right
was so
now.
pissed. He had punched out the first two.
I know.
And they're like, pitch clock, you're out. And Scherzer's took the ball and was like, well, I was going to strike him out anyways.
By the way, you see that
he was on it that inning.
He might have been on some green things.
you see the
Just joke. Totally
can't
joking.
do that. Don't
He was
start
not.
that.
He was not.
No.
He was not. We just had the whole conversation.
Yes.
Calm down, Scott.
But if you want AJ's take on which drug is more effective, greenies or steroids, just go backwards in the conversation.
No, I didn't say it was more effective. I just said made a bigger impact.
Bigger impact, more effective. Kind of the same thing. By the way, David Robertson this season is doing it. 2.57 ERA. I think his ERA plus. I don't have it off the top here, but it was very, very, very good. In the 170 or something range. Like he mentioned, he had 2 bad outings when he first got there, and now he's back on track. So good shit from him. All right.
And before we get, I got to say this. I am very happy that greenies and steroids are out of baseball. They're both horrible. They were both bad for you.
Yes.
Do not do them. Do not try them. But I am very happy, and it led to a lot of other problems for people away from baseball. But what I'm saying is I'm very happy that they are gone. So let me just make that 100% clear. And no, Max Scherzer, it was not serious, and he's not. Okay? So before Twitter trolls get me, I'm just making sure that everyone knows.
I love it.
Now, Scott, what do you have to say?
ERA plus for David Robertson this year is 169. All right, let's get back to that's what he said. So let's swing it to that is what he said. Let's swing it to the Mets, okay? Because a lot of people have been asking us to cover this, so we will, okay? So apparently, Verlander and Scherzer, who talked about getting back together as teammates, and there were articles about how they weren't the best of friends when they were with the Tigers, but It's water under the bridge, whatever that means. That's a long time ago. So we want to win together, highest paid duo, all of that, right? Well, there was an article that there was occasional discord. This is from Mike Puma of the New York Post. Verlander, according to not Scherzer, but I guess another Met that spoke to him, an anonymous Met, right?
I hate anonymous people.
Gotta love anonymous. Was a, quote, diva, causing Scherzer to, that's way too big of a word for me, grouse about his fellow 3-time Cy winner. Verlander often complained about the Mets analytics department, which he deemed inferior to the one that served him in Houston. Verlander, who was traded back to the Astros on August 1, was largely detached from teammates, according to the Met, and didn't add to the team's identity. On the other hand, Scherzer, who was traded to the Rangers on July 29, and Bassett last season, helped form the fabric of the clubhouse. That's no surprise. Chris Bassett's a dude. He's cool to hang out with, whatever. JV's like big time, Kate Upton. And sometimes he's even said it. Like he's kind of, like I remember I was covering him last year with the Astros when I was on the road. And he was like, yeah, I'm trying to have more fun. I'm coming back from the injury, trying to kind of just hang with the guys more and all of that. So I guess that, according to this one Met, disappeared again. But then Verlander came out and was like, no, F you. So he came out on his socials and said, I want to say I have nothing but respect for the Mets org, and I enjoyed connecting with all of my teammates this season, new and old. That's Max, for anyone that's unaware. It truly was a wonderful group of people. That being said, we all know the success of a team is made up of more than just the players on the field. Everyone's input is valuable. I'm sorry to hear that a staff member took offense to constructive criticism on how we could improve. Wishing nothing but the best to the Mets moving forward. I think this is fascinating, and for me, Kratzy, there's two layers. One is, sure, if there are people saying, hey, I wish that he was more open with us, hanging with the guys, blending in, that's one portion of the combo. The other portion of the combo is, hell yeah, if I've got a guy who's a future Hall of Famer coming into my organization that has not had a lot of winning in its past, and I'm coming from Houston, and yes, you can't just go all about sign stealing in 2017. They have done shit right as far as putting a winning product on the field. If JV says, hey, guys, this might be good to add, or this might be a better way for us to go about our preparation or our analytics in that department, I definitely would be listening. I wouldn't be criticizing him, even if he's saying it in like a little bit more of a, hey guys, we need to get with the times tone. That's fine. I think there's still an analytics arms race, and you have to balance things, Kratzy. Obviously, we've talked about that a ton, but if JV's like, hey, we can do things a little better, here's how, I'm all ears.
You got to listen to him in some ways, but if he's acting like a diva, I guess you got to kind of, was he saying all these things after a start? I've seen superstars come into teams and they don't hit well, or they don't pitch well, and it's like, well, the numbers say this. I mean, I don't understand why I'm not doing well. If he was saying it beforehand and being like, hey, when I was in Houston, it was, it might annoy that person, but the dude's got so much experience. And as long as he's saying this stuff before starts and, hey, I want to know this information, you got to listen to him. And based on JV's comments, it felt like he knew exactly who made the comments. And I think that's hilarious. The anonymous source is not anonymous to JV.
What's interesting, though, is he said a staff member. He didn't say a player.
Mm-hmm.
He said a staff member. So that means either a coach or somebody behind the scenes that we don't know about said this.
Yeah, no, that's what the report says, that a staff member called him out.
Said a Met. So, I mean, according to this Met, normally I assume a Met meaning a player.
But within this story, either that one or another one that I read, there was a staff member saying like he was criticizing the way that they were providing information. Okay. I'm like, cool.
Maybe he's trying to make you better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now listen, the Scherzer Verlander thing, I mean, there's been numerous things said about it written. I don't know, because I know they work out together at the same place down in Palm Beach. So I don't know anything about that. So we can't even talk about that. But the analytics stuff, like if you get Justin Verlander, who came over from what many people consider the best analytics team organization in baseball, and he goes to the Mets, who apparently are willing to spend anything to make themselves a World Series winner, and he says, hey, we need more of this or this or this. How the hell do you not listen to him? If you're Steve Cohen, I'd been like, what do you need, Justin? You need this? Okay, I have billions of dollars. I'm wasting on this and this and this. Oh, maybe we should focus it more here. But Again, I don't know. Now, as far as him in the clubhouse, anyone can say that about anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't fit in. Unless you're in there every day. I hate the anonymous, and I hate this because if you're not in that clubhouse every day, you don't know. And if you're not in the clubhouse, and you can even be a staff member in that, you're not a player. Unless a player comes out and says, if Pete Alonso or Francisco Lindor comes out and says, hey, Justin Verlander was a pain in the ass, which they're not going to, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
Because if you don't put your name behind it, you don't truly believe it.
Keenan Middleton.
Hi,
I'm Keenan Middleton.
God, whatever you want about
there is a
about
problem, and then other teammates backed him up since then. That's how you handle airing some shitty laundry from a former ball club, right?
I agree. Put your name on it.
Put your name on it, okay?
I think also, like, the millions of times that I got traded, it was usually for like a little, like, hey, we got to fill in for 3 or 4 weeks here or there. That was one of the first things teams would ask me. Hey, you were with so-and-so. What did they do with this analytically? Like, different people would come up to me and pick my brain. Obviously, they know they're not getting a future Hall of Famer like they have in JV, but that's how you get better. You learn, hey, what are they doing? What was most successful for you from a pitching coach, from an analytic, from a coaching stand, from a managing standpoint? That's the whole reason you pay extra for experience. The value in experience is not just on the field.
All right, one more, and then we will finish up because it's related to the Mets, and I don't want it to get too dated. I wanted to throw this in there. Did you see? And now Ozzie Albies is actually on the IL, and Von Grissom's getting called up. So we'll see how he does in the meantime. Braves are rolling. But this was after they beat the shit out of the Mets over the weekend.
Again.
Albies on how much pleasure the Braves take in beating the Mets. Quote, a lot of pleasure, of course, because they always say they're going to beat us. That's all I can say. I won't say much. You just said it. That's good, though. I like that. That's a jab back. Like, you're our rival. You haven't done shit. We keep winning the division.
I mean, when I was there for 2 years, we couldn't beat the Mets. I mean, so.
Right, but you are now dating yourself. It's been a minute. You were there for the rebuild.
I know. And the Mets were going to the World Series, losing to Kratz's team.
Yeah.
So they were hot.
Since then, once they got themselves on track.
Since they got rid of me, it's been flip-flop. Maybe it was me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely you.
It's
once
like when Jimmy Rollins.
Pierzynski.
It's like when Jimmy Rollins said, we're going to win the division back in 2007. And Mets fans hated him until he retired. Like, Mets fans are exactly what Ozzie Albies says. And I don't know that he's talking about actual Mets. I think he's talking about the fans being like, dude, we're going to beat you. Throw me a ball, Ozzie. You know, all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, it feels great to beat a team in your division. It doesn't, I mean, obviously, I guess it feels a little different when the Marlins weren't good and you beat them. But it feels great to beat a team in your division. I love that Ozzie said it.
Especially when, I mean, there was some heatedness. There used to be. Again, it's kind of died down a little bit.
Well,
guys swap teams,
yeah.
but I mean, like when it first went to this division, 19 games, and I mean, you like I said earlier, man, you'd get. I mean, when I was with the Twins, the White Sox were like our number one every year. They'd be like, "We're a better team. We go out and go 15-4 against them." We're like, "Oh, you're better? We just whooped your ass 15 out of 19. Like you're not better." And then we win the division. Like, no, you're not better, but you keep talking. Next year, same thing. It's like we're better, but we don't talk about it. So yeah, you get pleasure out of that. Especially when it's players. Like back in that day, like Ray Durham, Bobby Howry, Keith Fogel, like we're better than them. We go out and bitch slap them 15-4, 15-4 or something during the year. And we're like, yeah, who's better now? You know, like I appreciate that they had confidence in their squad, but they weren't better. We were better. And we knew it. And then we beat them. It was like, it made you feel even happier because you're like, not only did we beat them, but they were the ones talking all the shit.
And there's been quite a few Braves that have called them out. I mean, there's a famous quote a year ago from Von Grissom, who said he thought he was going to be drafted by the Mets and said that would have sucked. Spencer Strider's called them out a couple times in the past, including last year. It was like, man, they're lucky. They're getting all these calls. I think it's fun. That's good. That's good, like fun chirping, good, clean fun. Keep that shit up.
Nobody's making it personal.
No, I like that. I like that. We need more of that. So keep it going. All right, let's slap. Kratz hats, what do you got today?
I had to follow up my MB hat with just the regular M with the barley on the bottom there, they actually adopted it in 2018 when I got there.
Really?
Oh, they
It's
had
only
that before.
2018? No,
They did, but they
had that.
adopted it as their main jersey.
Oh, okay.
Oh, because I'm like, they had that before.
No, yeah, it was like an alternate.
Gotcha. Okay.
I know, like I thought, like in the early when they moved into Miller Park, whatever it's called, American Family, that was their logo reshuffle. No,
It was, but then they adopted. So this one has the barley leaf on the bottom of it.
okay. Oh, so that's the difference.
That's the difference. And then
instead
they
of
put
just
it,
the M.
but then they put it on the jersey too.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. By the way, thanks for yesterday informing everybody that the M and the B is in the glove.
There's a lot of people that didn't know
I
that.
know. There's a lot of people that still
More
don't
than
know
you
that.
think.
Yes.
However many
crazy
you
to
think,
me.
there's more. And there were some bold, brave humans out there who admitted to Kratzy they didn't know that the logo with the glove in it is an M and a B. Milwaukee Brewers.
It's called the ball in glove, not ball in, ball, letter N,
Ball and
glove.
glove.
Ball and glove, like a ball and glove.
Gotcha. Okay. And there's been a lot of people lastly that have said, hey, you should have me on the show, or hey, I have a question or whatever. And I'm like, cool. First off, you can always join us in the chat. We're very active there, as the FT fam knows, but also coming soon, you can talk to us as a caller. Sign up and follow at Foul Territory on Amazon AMP. Coming soon to FT Live. Slap Hands is about to get real wild sometimes with some of your questions, comments, and concerns unfiltered as usual. Keep it to baseball for the most part, please. Thank you, and let's do it. Off to Wednesday. We'll see you on FT Live. Same people, same place. We'll be back. Thanks to Brady Singer and David Robertson for joining us earlier, as well as Ryan Divish on the Mariners. If you missed any of it, the podcast is up for you every single day. See you Wednesday.